I'll obviously just ask them to give us audio check as well. Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Disgustingly Resilient podcast. I've already got quite a few people waiting in the chat, so I hope everyone's having a good day. And obviously today we're going through one of the favourite, most spiciest topics that can happen in Warhammer 40k, which is a Warhammer 40k tier list. But I'm not alone today. I'm actually joined by the rank 3 Global Death Guard player at the current moment, Jacob Kleuh. Who the hell are you, Jacob?
I'm just a dude. We got about a year going in. Been doing competitive for maybe 6 months now. Kind of small RTTs, GT, and one super major. So we're able to find a little bit of success there. We've got two in the world, or two in US for Death Guard, trying to make that one in August. So hopefully, wish me luck. And then,
Oh,
yeah, what else can I say? Not much going on here.
why Death Guard?
Right. I got introduced to 40K like everyone else does, just like a lot of overwhelming words. And you're like, this is interesting. I guess I'll try something. And I found Death Guard to be slow and tough. And I was like, yeah, that sounds interesting. They got cool names. I saw a Sloppity Bile Piper. I'm like, yeah, I know that's a demon, but I'm in. I didn't understand how it all worked. I was like, that's it for me.
I mean,
That's pretty much it.
to be only playing comp properly for 6 months and already getting yourself up to date. You said rank 2 in USA and rank 3 global. That's quite an achievement. So you must be quite proud of that one.
Yeah, of course. I have a lot of good practice partners to help me get ready for it. Just kind of put me through gauntlets, and it's been very nice. Tournaments are way different, and can't wait to do more.
Yeah, there is something to be said about basically learning by smashing your face against a brick wall repeatedly. That's kind of
This
how
is
I learned, and it's one of those like people who don't like losing won't find that useful. But if you don't mind losing and you just keep looking for improvements, it's probably one of the best ways to get better at the
hey,
game.
you learn the most from losing, I hear. So
That is a saying I've heard before, surprisingly. But yeah, it's really cool to see you doing really well, man. I'm glad for having you join me today for some
which is good.
hopefully hot takes. Because one good thing is as well, I obviously live in the U of K, the United Kingdom, and we represent the UKTC kind of terrain set. And obviously you are over the pond, so you are here as like sort of like a US representative. How are you finding it on the US at the moment?
I've practiced on three of the GW layouts, and honestly, I love how condensed it is. I've always wanted that. There's nothing like getting Alpha Strike because you can't hide half your army, and half is still in reserves, and it still doesn't matter. So it's nice to have a little cover. I've been able to kind of stage a little better. So far it's so good. I can't wait to play on the other four. I think there are. It's not too bad.
Yeah, I mean, I played like an RTT the other week on GW terrain, which is not normal over here, and I was like, "This is so good! I was like, this is so different. I can hide stuff. It's great."
Yeah.
So definitely interesting. But anyway, people are here for the one thing, and the main event is obviously to talk about our Legion and what we think they are. We have our tier list here, so obviously to suit Nurgle, the best things are obviously Absolute Filth at the top slash Cherryade because that's my secret power drink. We got Solidly Stinky, Nice and Pungent. The I hate specific matchups, which are units that aren't necessarily bad, but only good in very niche scenarios. So your mate who's been doing your head in with a specific army, you bring it along just to screw him over. Because we do that as we're all friends here. Then we've got Slightly Moldy Sock, which is like, nah, like that's the thing you're probably not actively trying to take that much. And then obviously at the bottom we have Yankee Candle tier, which is smells lovely. So in the context of Death Guard, that is terrible and definitely not something that we actually want. So we will assign them where we think they belong. I'm just going to quickly sort. I'm going to bet people saying my volume's a little low. I'm just going to quickly sort that very quickly. Sounds. Recording. There we go. That properties. Let me turn it up a little bit. Levels. Alright, hopefully that's a bit better for people. There we go. So, where do you want to start? Do we start with the big man or should we start with something a bit more lower down, a bit more normal? Where do you reckon?
Oh, it's your show, man. You tell me.
Tell you what,
We can, we can,
let's go with... We'll go with an interesting one, actually. I want to talk about the Hellbrute. So, Hellbrute is an interesting one. It has a really good ability that I can't deny, like being able to spread contagion at range, especially on the UK boards, which were a lot longer range till recently. Obviously, might not be the same on the GW layouts, but being able to spread your contagion, especially -1 save, and then be able to do something like a Boil Blight off that is really cool. Now, unfortunately, they take a bit of hit. The super tank shock not being so, not being so super anymore. It's based off toughness rather than the actual strength of the fist. But at the same time, means you're not as you're not as forced to take a fist now. To get a good tank shock out of it, you can rock double guns and then get still a good tank shock plus the D3 mortal wounds. But at the same time, it's a Hellbrute, which comes with all of the aforementioned Hellbrute problems, being it's fairly squishy, it's quite expensive. It is now 130 instead of the 140 it used to be last time I did this tier list. But it only has a 2-up save, which is good. Don't get me wrong, 2-up save is great. But I think it's 8 wounds, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Which is low. What's your feelings on the Hellbrute?
Thanks for asking. The problem I have with it is that if it's got line of sight on something to do its whole shtick, that means it's got line of sight back to it. And if you're really not rocking the predators that are going to take advantage of it, and maybe any other anti-tank, if you're allying some big anti-tank, it just gets shot back and usually dies for it. Because a lot of times we're doing -1 save, and that means we're not really hurting their ballistic skill, weapon skill, anything. So I feel like it just gets traded for 1 contagion placement, and then it's dead, and it feels bad.
Yeah, and that kind of tends to be the experience that I've had with it as well. Which isn't the worst if you're against a specific matchup where you can get you get the contagion on something like a knight, and maybe you can shoot a knight to death or something like that. But again, we're talking like one specific matchup, and when you're doing tournaments, you don't really just prep for one specific army. So, bloody hell, Loki, with 10 gifted memberships. Thank you so much. If you just got gifted a membership, please say thank you to that. Support's massively appreciated, and also a $2 donation as well. You mad lad, thank you so much for the support. Very quickly, people in the chat, they're talking about war dogs and stuff. I did talk to Jacob before the stream. We did say we will talk about allies once we got the Death Guard units in here. I won't place them on the tier list as such, but we will talk about them if we have time, because I know a lot of people do like them. Thank you so much, Loki. I massively appreciate it. We're talking about the Hellbrute currently, Tud. But yeah, I agree. The Hellbrute tends to be a unit that needs to get his value back in one sort of like exposure. So he exposes himself, gets his shots off, tends to die back instantly. And I also feel like you have to bring enough units to build around. So the current list you're currently running probably doesn't really have much use for Hellbrute at all.
We're already going right into
it. We'll get to that one because we'll do them very soon. But let's just say he has a very spicy list that probably wouldn't make too good use for Hellbrute. Hellbrute, like as Jacob said, probably wants you to be running stuff like Predators or these other long-range anti-tank or anti-shoot heavy shooting platforms to make the most out of it. But I don't think it is a terrible unit. It is a good buff to bring.
Agreed.
I think it's, again, has to be the right list. Has to be, especially with the terrain being denser now. I don't find the need for it as high, to apply at long range, because long range line of sights just aren't as common as they used to be. So that's a thing also to be aware of. Where would you probably put him on this tier list?
Just summarize the biggest downfalls, the change of tank shock, even though it got a little bit better points. Like you said, I feel like I hate specific matchups and feels good there. How do you think?
I could agree on that. I think it's probably like I hate specific matchups / love some tables. I'm going to just edit that. Because again, if you have those long line of sights, I think it can actually, and you bring like a more gunline focused army, I think it can actually be pretty decent there. But again, you still run the risk of, getting traded instantly. There is playing like bringing it on from reserves, getting a shot at something, but the thing I like to do with it was like bring it in from reserves, shoot a unit that was hiding behind a ruin, then I could boil blight it, and then my PBCs without the help of Morty, hitting on 3s, but that's no longer a thing either, which kind of sucks. So yeah, I reckon I could put him in I hate specific matchups, because I think tagging something big, so if you're against a player that loves bringing, like, you're down at your local friendly game store, someone keeps bringing like a Tau Supremacy armor or, a Storm Surgeon, you really want to just try and kill it, bringing that guy to tag it turn 1 and then just shooting the crap out of it, not a bad shout. but I don't think it really makes it into any sort of generic list at the moment, especially if you go into tournaments and you want more like a take-all-comers list. So yeah, I think I agree with that one there, mate. Happy with it there?
Yes, sir.
All right, Tyler Spanik, thank you so much for 5 gifted memberships, mate. Bloody hell, these people are going mad already today. Thank you to Tyler if you got given a membership. For people that did get membership, check out the community tab on YouTube. You can get a link to the Discord. You can join the Discord. We're going to have a giveaway going up this week, and then you can also submit stuff like the plague surgery, all that kind of thing. But I massively appreciate the support there. Okay, people were saying they want us to talk about the big man. Should we talk about? We'll talk about the big man.
Let's do it.
Let's talk about the big man, Mortimer himself, old Morty. So, I think people are being a little unfair to Morty because they're saying because Indirect got nerfed, Morty now is just useless and garbage.
Yes.
I'm not saying Morty's auto-take, he's definitely not. But I think people don't give him enough credit for the stuff that he's actually good at. Because if we look at some of the strong armies at the moment, some of the predicted strong armies, Sisters of Battle, all their anti-tank is kind of like multi-melters. It kind of struggles with T12 as long as you don't like stand on objectives and give them free rerolls and you stay away from like Paragon suits, who get full rerolls and all that stuff. But they can genuinely struggle against him, especially because chances are they want to be in melter range. They're going to have, you know, contagion on them, so you can take minus weapon skill, ballistic skill. Now they're hitting with like retributors on 6s, if you combine it with like Cloud of Flies. So it can actually be quite troublesome for that. And also another point is, he is my... There's a stratagem in the game I hate more than anything. I don't know if you agree on this one. It's called Armor of Contempt. I hate Armor of Contempt in any army that has its equivalent. And Sisters at the moment, and their best attachment, guess what it has? Armor of Contempt.
What is it? Is it? Oh, wow. That's crazy.
It's crazy,
yeah,
right?
Nothing worse hearing it from Space Marines in the shooting phase. And they're like, okay, we got past that. And we charge. It's like Armor of Contempt. And you're like...
Yeah, he's like... Yeah, because even with -1 save contagion, like, because it just basically brings you back to being like normal AP2, and the worst bit is because they do it after if you've declared like Ferric Blight or not. So the second you don't declare it, and they're just gonna like, yeah, I'm gonna put you back down to AP2, or God forbid you haven't took -1 save and now you're back to like AP1 in your Deathshroud, and you're like, cool. It's good. It's great for ignoring that. Plus, Tau exist, and Tau have a strat for -1 damage on their vehicles from shooting attacks, so being able to ignore that's really nice. And obviously, just -1 to hits. There's a lot of stuff that has stealth out there. I think he ignores more than... People were just like, oh, he's just there to ignore indirects. It's like, no, there's a lot more things Morty ignores. That being said, if you could describe Morty's damage output, how would you describe it?
I would like a wet tissue paper, maybe.
Yeah, that's probably about accurate, to be fair.
He's got good matchups into things that do not have invulns, but as soon as it hits an invuln, it is... Everybody knows this. It is just... feels bad. Oh, I killed a Terminator. Okay. Well, we'll be here the rest of the game. Kind of feels bad.
Yeah, it took me like two whole battle rounds to get through 3 Deathshroud and a lot of contagion when I was fighting a mirror match, because 4 invulns and just 5 attacks is just not the way. I ended up doing the sweeps in the end. I was like, I'm sick of this. I'm going for the sweeps.
He's got something else. I end up just following him back in a lot of situations, and sometimes it's just the best call. But yeah, he's still a good force multiplier, aside from indirect. And if you're running an army that's going to take advantage of that, a list that's going to take advantage of that, he's the piece that they miss, and that's a big distraction. Because you don't want things shooting your tanks. That's kind of where I see him being best fit right now. Any flavor of anti-tank, because him rolling around with Terminators or Plague Marines kind of feels tough to set up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Force Multiplier is still there, and that's what keeps him in a pretty good spot still, I think.
Yeah, and the reroll ones to Wound Aura as well is always nice to have. I think people get too stuck on that. I think people don't use the +3 contagion enough sometimes. Sometimes there's good points when you can make use of that, and it's really good. I think the biggest shift with Morty, and the one thing he does actually do well, is because a lot of things aren't gearing up to kill something like Morty. As a pressure piece now, instead of a sit back and support piece, he's actually not too bad. Turns out a giant moth barreling down on your natural objective, even though he's not the scariest thing in the world, he's kind of a pain in the ass to get off it.
Yeah, still got pretty good OC. He's basically got to kill him. What's the math? 2 to 3 times with his feel no pain included. So yeah, he's not nothing. And Meltas also hate invulns. All those big anti-tank guns also hate invulns. So he's not nothing. I still would consider running him if I wasn't running what I am now.
Yeah, that's understandable. I actually think I'm going to be running him for a little bit. I do like this direction. I do like the ability for him to be. There is a point where an opponent basically decides what they're going to do with Morty. They're either going to try and kill him, or they're going to try and ignore him. And that turn when they're going to try and kill him, I am more than happy to sink like 4 command points to make this guy stay alive. Because if my opponent basically exposes everything, and even if he lives on 1 or 2 runes, but then in the retaliation I can pick up most of it, I'm happy with that. Or the alternative is to go, I'm not going to try and kill Morty, at which point I stop being careful with Morty and I just run him at your objective. And once I've cleared that out, I'm running him at your home objective. So
And there's still some matchups where people can't deal with him, so you just get to do that for free.
Yeah, totally. Like there is some matchups where Morty can really kick off. I don't think he's as bad as people. People are saying he's dead. He's useless.
Really, that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, he's still like
a hot one.
He's very cheap. He's like 325 points, which is like expensive in Death Guard terms, but like.
Right, and you still run your Plagueburst crawlers, and they get line of sight, and you're hitting on 2s again. It still works.
Like, yeah, it's like there's still
ways to make it work.
There's still plenty of like ways for him to like help out the army, and like again, biggest one for me is Armor Contempt. I hate that thing. Ignoring that, really good. Deathwing Knights, hilarious by the way.
And they're going to be pretty prevalent.
So yes,
that's really good.
And that's one unit I actually don't mind putting him into the 4-up invuln, because every hit does like just kill a guy if it goes through the invuln, which again, get through the 4-up, but every one you do, it's like 4 damage dead. So I think Morty probably still fits in solidly stinky. I genuinely
agree.
I don't think he's. I think like top list is auto take. Because like, why is it not on your list? This is like genuine consideration for a strong list, and we've seen it as well. Recent lists have been making good use of Morty as well. So I think our Primarch, although he's not as shiny as amazing as Angron and Magnus, I think he still does a solid job. Again, I'm still on the party of like, please give him 7 attacks, because then we're really talking.
Yeah. It's better for him. It's thematic. Come on now.
Yeah, so I mean, I'd be happy to have Morty there. And again, small buff would be nice, but again, we got to remember our Primarch is almost 150 points cheaper than some of the other ones. So.
Yep. And I would take that points increase for him to do some stinky things.
Yeah, admittedly, I would as well. So we'll put him there. We got a request in the chat. We're gonna go for this fella next. It's our favourite. What is your opinion on the Plague Surgeon? He went down in points.
He did, and because of that, he's at the very top. No. I tried to find excuses to make it work, and it's the age-old thing of, does a Plague Marine unit live to heal? No, it doesn't. And if someone knows that you have a heal, they just kill it. They just treat it like Necrons or any other regenerating army, and then the Plague Surgeon's just sitting there. I know you did your fun, your fan-made list with him, and you somehow made his melee fun. You still made it work to your advantage, but yeah, he's just not got enough love, and it's really unfortunate.
I paid.
I think we all knew there's something going.
I paid 80 points for that melee profile. Do you know what I could have got for 80 points? A lot of Contagion, Typhus, and I'm gonna guess they might do a little bit of a better job in melee than the Plague Surgeon would. Just a little bit.
I forgot you gave him Deadly Pathogen, didn't you?
Yeah, I had to make him at least do something. But the main problem with the place, even at his lowered points, is Jacob is completely right. Anyone that knows you have Resurrection on a unit is going to just kill the unit outright, or at least try the best to. The other problem is, he is a Virion character, which means he takes up one of the 2 slots that goes in your things. So, in a 10-man, it's kind of not even a discussion about the 2 characters that join that, which Jacob is obviously going to be.
The Biologist and the Foul Spawn.
Surprise to nobody. Which means that the only place this guy's probably not played is either a 7-man, which is not really taken because it's just inefficient for special weapons, or in a 5-man, in which case that is way easier to kill and even less chance of getting resurrections off. So even at the reduced points, like, his heal annoys me. Like, he can only heal infantry characters. He can't even heal, like, when you got a Plague Marine who's took 1 wound, you can't even heal that up. Because he's not a character. He still irks me so bad. Like, this guy needs a rules rewrite.
Yeah, and
Even
if someone's got, sorry, go ahead.
go, no, you go, mate, you go.
If you got a precision and they for some reason don't take out the healing character, say you have something else in it, and they precision it, you're not going to be able to heal that other character because turns out precision is probably just going to kill that character anyway.
Surprisingly, what do you mean? What do you mean? Precision tends to kill 4 wound, 3 up save models.
A plague marine with 2 extra wounds? What? That's insane.
Yeah, I mean, like, okay, he's got a 2 damage melee weapon. Like, yay, thumbs up, I guess. You know, that's something. But like, if you're gonna take a smash character in here, you just take like a chaos lord for like 10 or some 20 more points, because at least it has like an actual melee, like decent, and it gives a proper buff to the unit, and then deals like mortals and stuff. He's just. Is there at any point you consider, even for a second, taking him in a list?
Uh, no, I'm sorry. It's no. It's a no for me, dog.
Yeah, same here. I'm sorry. He's still relegated to Yankee Candle tier. He smells lovely, which means he's shit. Sorry, I can't love this guy, even with points. Points drop don't fix this model.
I mean, lore is so cool. It's just
Yeah, as well. It's so nice. The model looks sick as well. It's just grim. So do you want to pick a unit?
um, let's do. Okay, I got an interesting topic on the bloat drones because everybody's got their own opinion on which one. I think we should do. Maybe we
Yeah.
should do bloat drone.
Okay, go for it. You take the lead on this one then.
Oh, good. Okay, so it remains. It took a little bit of a hit in the fact that it can no longer fall back into actions. We know that. Of course, it's not battle line, so it'll never benefit from swift action or stalwarts or anything like that. But what it does good, without question, is for its points, it is a cheap skirmishing quick unit, not something we have a lot of access to that can spread contagion. That baseline itself has always been good. It's annoying with the invuln, still pretty tough, still can tank shock, better than it ever has.
Yes.
That's where the weapons, to me, are kind of up to the player and how they're playing their list, but just the base stuff minus the weapons is what makes it so good, in my opinion. But what do you think about before we talk about the weapon loadout?
I completely agree. I think that the baseline is it serves a purpose that Death Guard kind of struggle with, which is it is a flying, so it can get out of jail list as well. You just try and jail you in. It's like I said, it's for its points. It is kind of it's kind of dumb for its points when you look at its like defensive profile. It's 10 wounds, T9, 3 up, 5 up. Like that's not that easy to kill. Like a lot of things that are 80, 90 points, I'm killing that thing and it will kill them. Like Votan Infiltrator dudes, they ain't gonna kill it. It's definitely gonna kill them. And every time I've played a bloat drone, I found the bloat drone is amazing for making my opponent make a bad trade, because you can't kill it with anything that's equivalent points. It's so hard to do, which means they have to expose someone actually proper, kill it, and then you kill that, and you're like, cool, I'm up like 120 points on that trade.
And you could do that maybe 1 more, 2 more times, depending on how many you bring. It's great. It's never been a bad in any matchup I've ever had.
Yeah, and it's also because of you mentioned that although we can't do fallback action, fallback shooting charge is really useful when it pulls off, and I've used it to bait out charges. So I had 5 Deathwing Knights rapid ingress and charge it, popped 2 CP for disgusting resilient, lived on 3 wounds, yeah, and then it lived.
This was your recent
Yeah.
RTT.
And then just flew over them, spread contagion in the backline, sprayed the guys off the home objective, and I was like, and then just shot the Deathwing Knights death. I was like, cool, you didn't even trade the 90 points. You lost 235 points Deathwing Knights, killed the scouts on your home, and I'm spreading contagion for Bioblight everywhere. It's
all that per drop of 2 CP is all it costs, and you would take that. I'm willing to bet 10 out of 10 times.
Oh yeah, 100%. And that's the thing, like again, it's this unit where it's like, and again, like you said, because of the invuln, if someone sends out like 4 melter guns from like a Dominion squad or something like that, like yeah, like odds are it does kill it. But what if it doesn't?
What if it doesn't?
Like you shoot that at a Rhino, you're like, yeah, it's gonna die because everything that goes through just goes clean through. But this thing can, like, and we've all had the game where we've rolled like 4 saves and we had 3 5-ups. Like
it's like, what's that? You traded your anti-tank into not my big tank? Oh, that's not good for you.
Yeah, and then the best bit as well, against melters and stuff, it can kind of defend itself if you've took the flamer load out. It's like, cool, the immolator's pulled up and 5 girls have got out. Oh no. Okay. They're gone.
Yeah, so that's a good segue into what is the current thought process for weapon loadout for you? Because I know you kind of flirted with the blight launcher, heavy blight launcher rather.
Yes.
What are you at right now?
I think Flamers are sort of like the all around choice. I think the Flamers are really solid, and they also give it that board control. So it's like you can put it in a position where you can basically just have opponent's infantry on the other side. It's like, okay, if you want to come through and try and do an action, I'm just going to spray you.
Yep.
And for some reason, and don't tell the other armies this. I feel like these Flamers, like when you say anti-infantry 2+, they scare people more than it should, especially Marine players, because it's only 1 damage. Like,
Yep.
you don't actually kill that many Marines, but when you tell someone they automatically hit and they wound you on 2s at like AP2 because of contagion, they just don't want to go near them. And really, they can. Like, they're not that big of an issue, but
I don't know. I don't know. You always have those spikes, but yeah, you're right.
there is that. But I mean, if it's like
You're right.
if it's one with like Sisters of Battle or something, like don't go near that. like 100%. But
T-shirt saves don't love them.
no,
Yeah.
true. And plus, I like the fact, like, again, you can just fly around, you spray something. The coolest things are, like, when you fly around a corner, spray a unit, kill a couple guys, but then next turn it's like, okay, cool, now if you want to move, you're going to get overwatched again, so I've basically shot you twice for that, for free.
Yeah, I found myself putting them in positions because Pariah Nexus is so far for me and what I've read or watched, a lot of MSU still continuing to be that because it is harder than ever to score, in my opinion. And you move, you shoot, you charge to kill the last 2. If you don't kill them for tank shock, maybe you do, maybe you don't. And then you're still in that position to overwatch because you're in a really tricky position for them. This is like so much value out of 1 unit for 90 points.
Yeah, for 90 points. That's the thing you got to keep reminded. It's 90 points for all this. it's actually insane. And especially when you do something like you get to leave the unit, fly off into somewhere else, you contagion somewhere else, boil blight that, it sprays somewhere, then charges back into the unit just to finish it off with like a tank shock. It's like, and the tank shock change is really big for this thing. Like going from 6 dice on average to like always having 9 dice, even into like the hardest vehicles in the game. I used it to finish off a Land Raider the other day. Like it's
Still strength 5 or 5 or 6.
it's 6,6,1,1 on his little probe. It's not the
Is it
worst.
6? Okay. So it's a better plague spewer than the plague marines have because I think theirs is strength 5.
Oh yeah. The flamers, yeah. They're it's the vehicle ones are all strength 6, I think, weirdly, because the plague spewers and their plague spitters, because we need to differentiate these things.
Right.
So one's strength 6, one's strength 5. I don't know why, but in melee it's also like 6. It's 6. Is it 621 or is it 611? I can't remember if it's 2 or 1 AP1 base.
Sorry, the melee for
the plague probe. They're not
probe?
not the flesh mower.
I think it's 6-1. Yeah, 6-1-1.
Yeah. So like, I mean, like you could again, you can move up, you spray a unit. Oh, it's got like 1 guy or 2 guys left. You can, basically like 4 guys left. You go in, you tank shock. Okay, now I've killed 3 of them. There's 1 guy left. That plague probe's got a good chance of picking him up as well. Like it's a multi.
With save contagion, they're pretty pissed usually to hear 2 AP. What?
Yeah.
Doesn't that thing have guns?
Yep. Yes, and a little nose. But yeah, I think Plague Spit is probably my go-to. Heavy Blight Launcher I kind of like, but it's kind of more because I want a unit that's going to stay around like board edges and sort of skirt around and still be able to contribute when it's not doing an action. But it's definitely more there for actions, like to do stuff. But again, he does have like it's strength 8 AP2 baseline, which is actually kind of good for killing Marines. Like 8-2-2. It's AP2 base and obviously 3 in contagion. Which is interesting. With lethal hits as well, so you can like shoot tanks, but I don't really consider it to do too much damage. But it can pick up like a Marine or 2 here while also like doing some scory things. I haven't played with a flesh mower much though. Have you played with flesh mowers?
Yeah, when I was doing my escapade on RTTs and really getting into kicking some butt, I was running double flesh mowers with that, kind of like that Boil Blight list or Blight Bombardment with Morty list, and I wish I had the spewers. I didn't have the models, and I was really sick of saying these are flesh mowers on the model, but I'm running them as spitters, and I felt bad about it. So mostly just what I had at the moment. They were bad when Tank Shock was different. They did pretty good. They loved Marine bodies, of course, with save contagion. It's 5-up saves, dead per. But they were much more lacking in the fact that they didn't have that great Overwatch threat. I just think the Plague Spewers outshine them in that aspect.
I agree, and the other problem I have with them is that bloat drones can't heroic, which is annoying. You have to be a
the hard
walker.
way.
Yeah, you have to be a walker if you're a vehicle. So even the flesh mower, which like the one good thing you think it would have is like, oh, I can always heroic with it. You can't do that. So, like, for me, if I was to tier the weapons, I'd go, like, Spitters first, then the Launcher, and then the Fleshmower at the bottom. But I can see people wanting the Fleshmower if you're going for, like, just a pure melee pressure and just running, like, 3 of them forward. Because, again, you send 3 of them down a flank, it's, like, less than a quarter of your army. It's almost, like I think it's, like, 14% of your army for 3 of those damn things. And that's going to make a lot of people shit the pants.
Yeah, and you playing them is hilarious because people are gonna start running 3, and we're gonna piss off a lot of people and that we play against because I'm like, ah, God, 3 of these things again. Ugh.
Like, I used to run 1 just to make bad trades, and now I have 3 of them in the list, and it's just like, yeah.
I like that you put them in a line. Like, it's just like, that's got a very clear definition of what that's gonna do, and I don't want to deal with it.
It's like, here's one for the first turn, here's one for the second. So just like drip feed them. So where would you put these guys then?
Um, this is tough because I I have seen them in almost every list. I don't quite know if they're the very tippy top. They make almost every list, but there's some scenarios where they don't have as much effectiveness, and that's mostly just knights.
Yeah, they definitely don't do much against knights. They can struggle in the matchup.
I can make absolutely solidly stinky. They're up there with Morty for sure.
They're at minimum maybe front of solidly stinky at minimum.
Yeah, and from there, I just don't know if I could put them tippy top.
Tippy top is like literally has to be in your list. Like,
yeah, so I just think they're getting there. But maybe if they went down 10 more points, GW, get us out here.
Don't. But speaking of things that probably will go up there, it's probably going to be Typhus. I'm going to talk about Typhus. I think Typhus is the most auto-include ever. 80 points is ludicrous for him. You just get to pick a unit on a 2-up, do d6 mortals to it, which, again, people are always like, oh, but Typhus always rolls 1s. It can happen. It's a dice game, though. You can roll 1s in anything, like shooting can roll 1s, melee can roll 1s. But the fact when it goes off, the fact you just go d6 mortals for absolutely no reason, just take them. Against any target, it's like, oh, cool, a 5-man, again, Dominion Retributor squad. It's 120 point sister squad with 4 multi-metals. Oh, I've just done 5 mortal wounds, the entire thing's dead. Cool. A land raider or a knight. Oh, you're like 400 points. Cool. Just take take 4 mortal wounds for no reason. Like, it doesn't matter the target. It's just value after value, and I can still do it while I'm actioning. So I can still come in, score secondary, and do that. And this is all just if we're talking about him solo. Plus, he's got a strength 9, flat 3 damage weapon. And this is before we even consider putting him in a squad. Like, even solo, he's more than worth his 80 points. What do you think? I mean, I don't
know if there's anything else to say. The other thing I would add, and this has already been hounded, just like I already know you've talked about it. Just a reminder for everyone, he got lucky and he can still snipe blood ops, so that's just nasty. Why, you may ask? We still don't know. And we're not going to question it.
Nope. Nope. We aren't questioning that at all.
I know that you ran him with Terminators. I haven't ran him with Terminators in a long time. Is there something that said there, or?
I just couldn't afford another character, so I wanted my -1 to wound on my Terminators, so I was like, okay, you can go in the squad. Normally I would just run him solo, but one thing I will say is because if you come across like a melee matchup, especially if you're a player that, like, I mean, I'm a -1 save contagion player. I think you're the same, aren't you, Jacob? But
pretty much, yeah.
Some people do really like the -1 weapon skill and ballistic skill, and him in a unit of like 6 Deathshroud with that is actually really hard for melee armies to deal with.
I see.
-2 to be hit all the time is not something that they enjoy fun with. So, but that's again just more points for him because it means he's flexible. Like, but it's as solid as it comes. 80 points for his profile is ludicrous. You can't just kill him with, like, again, an 80-point skirmish unit. So Wandering Goat in Chicago, he can snipe lone ops because they didn't generically fix it. They specifically called out the couple of things in the game that can do it, like Grey Knight Librarians, Doombolt, and then just didn't call it out on Typhus. So as long as it's not called out, you just follow the rules as written, which is pick anything in 18 and do small wounds. And there's no greater feeling in the world than sniping a lone up with him. It's so funny.
You go always remind your opponents that you got missed. That's for sure. Don't gotcha. We don't like gotchas.
Yeah.
But yes, it's still so good. It's ridiculous.
And at the same time, reminding them is also like very effective because they will not expose that guy and risk it. Just like, just
It's true.
remember, even if you never end up doing it, just keeping them, keep the fear in them. So yeah, I'm gonna put Typhus up in absolute filth up there. So we'll go. Let's talk about the bread and butter. Let's talk about your boys at the moment because you're absolutely loving these fellas. So you take it away. Do you want to tell people what you're currently running and why you're rating these guys so highly?
I'm currently running. I think it's been deemed the Plod Squad. I'm trying to find another name for it, make it something that sounds fun for me to say. But I'm running 60 Plague Marines with 6 10 mans. We're doing.
He's a
Uh,
monster.
he's a monster. Yes, I did just buy 3 boxes. Yes, I've been uh, batch painting, and yes, it is torture. But I did buy the little here. Let me just go for example. I got these little rings to identify 10 man, so I could be
Oh
like,
yeah, yeah.
orange unit is shooting, not well, see that guy there that looks like he has a power fist? He's the he divides this unit from the other 10 man, and it just got confusing for people. So anyway, 6 10 mans, double melta, spewer. I'm doing all heavy and the one robotic, so literally every unit's the same. But yeah, that's the base of it. 6 rhinos. I have 2 units of Nurglings, and I have 2 uses for them. If I'm going against another infiltrate army, of course, you know what those are used for. I don't want to get move blocked.
Yes.
But if I'm defender, I'm going to put them on. But if I'm attacker, I will most likely reserve them. Um, Maybe I don't, but mostly they're just there to add a huge move block. They take up a pretty decent chunk on some maps. And yeah, then we got 2 biologists and a foul blight spawn. Aiden's beautifully created. Plagueburst is still active, and then of course, Typhus. I ran it for the first time like before. I'm right at 10.5 finally, and it was like, wow, that's ridiculous. I like that a lot. So thank you for that
It's
again.
good. It's good.
I'm not a meta chaser, I promise. Um, but yeah,
You're
so
playing
one
Death Guard. You're not a
biologist.
mad chaser, that's for sure.
You're right. You're right. But yeah, one's got the wombo combo, fights first, lethal fives. Another lethal five and another 10 man just to push like that's another dagger I can have. So that's my second point of damage,
Yeah.
and then my third point is the plague bus, and it's just all like it's. I played 2 games with it. One of the GSC, maybe not the best use of it because GSC is kind of struggling right now, but they ran like the big units of cure strains and aberrants, so it's actually interesting. Um, Turn 3, no man's land was completely screened out, and then 9 inches past that to the deployment zones. If you could kind of imagine what that board state looks
Oh,
like.
good lord.
Book fixed. Turns out engage and cleanse is pretty darn good when you have 6 rhinos and 60 plague marines. I think it could be a problem, and we're going to test it in RTT coming up. So,
That's
but
awesome.
get back on track. Plague marines, root of that list. They, I know, people run them in every list. Like you'll see them. We were talking earlier, Aiden, about lower kind of 10 to 20 man amount. It's feels like you either use them or lose them sometimes, and it's easy to dump them out and have them traded for only one maybe turn. Um, that being said, if you have more, you can kind of be a little bit more aggressive with them. But yeah, just with the character support, they put out an insane amount of damage for points still. I know they're not as tough. They still die pretty easy. We've talked about that before, or you've talked about that before. But they still do force a little bit of awkward dice math with
Yes.
extra toughness. Um,
I know what you mean
I
by that.
still,
I've had a lot of people come in and they'll have a unit that they're used to killing like 5 intercessors, and that T5 just throws off the numbers just enough. So like maybe like
yeah,
2 guys live, and then like
yeah,
because the OC obviously is still pretty good at them because they're 2 each, and then they swing back because of heavy plague weapons, and then their 5 man like jumping at squad's dead.
yeah, and they swing up. I wouldn't say exponentially, but a lot of times it doesn't get set up because it's a little difficult with the new changes to how sticky gets taken off.
Yeah.
But when you get that double sustain on a full unit, I don't know a model in the game that can take that on the chin well. Like it is nasty,
Yeah.
and it will continue to be nasty. Um, their shooting is respectable with the foul blight spawn. they have an actual terrifying Overwatch threat.
Yep.
They kind of just because if you position yourself in the board with that fights first, you get around fights first. You're watching Aiden's videos, you're learning. I learned, and a lot of the people that I was playing with thought it was like the end all, but you can position them in ways to punish the next turn, so you don't get the whole unit shot off because they're not there to sit, like you said, in the middle of nowhere on an objective. They want to be in cover or obscured and then be able to react next turn. Um, I think it was it Liam VSL with the aggressive list that you had him on?
Yeah, yeah,
How
yeah.
he ran his aggressively and didn't really sit back with fights first. I took a lot from that and I started playing them aggressively. And boy, oh boy, it has been really fun.
Would you
Um,
describe yourself as an aggressive player?
Not until I changed from my RTT winning list with like Morty and the Plagueburst crawlers. I
Yeah.
traded. I learned so much from watching your stuff about trades and staging and doing those little 5-man units and just be MSU. Once that ended and I wanted to take a different path of list, um, I changed to an aggressive style and it took a while to get used to. I was kind of fizzling out a little too quick. But I'm kind of changing into aggressive player now. Yeah, yeah.
That's cool. That's cool, man. It's good to have like different like play styles. I'm trying to learn it as well at the moment. It's very different to what I'm used to. But yeah,
It's
go on.
and then no, that's pretty much it. Yeah. What are your thoughts? I know you've been
I
kind of
So yeah, we were talking before this about Plague Marines, and I think I'm getting to the point where I think Plague Marines are either you go in and you don't. I used to run like 20, 25 Plague Marines. I don't think you do that anymore. I think you either go like the whole hog, like Jacob say, with 60 of the guys. I still think having like one 10-man unit with like fights first and the biologist is a good tool to have in a toolbox list because it's still a problem your opponent has to deal with. They can sit on an objective and score it all game, like on Burden of Trust. It's really good to just be like, here's 10 Plague Marines on an effective objective marker with fights first, and they're guarding it every turn to get me like 6 VP minimum per turn. Like, that's a scary unit. Like, people don't, again, with the sustained 2 on 5s, like, nothing wants to fight that ever. I run the mixture of like shooting and melee in it. I can find heavy plague weapons can be a bit swingy at times. And sometimes I've played Biotics for like to try it out, and I'm like, you know what, Biotics I kind of slept on, I think, sometimes. Hitting on 4s, the second you run into something -1 to hit, ugh, not nice. Whereas if you go on.
oh no the Deathwing Knight, we're talking they're gonna like we said more prevalence.
Yeah.
I noticed something and you might have said it already, but when you have your big 10-mans and they're gonna be -1, do you just do all plague knives and weight of dice them with sustain? Because that's I think there's some merit there taking them to if there's still a 3-up with no AP, you could do Ferric Blight with it.
Yeah.
I mean that's a lot of CP, but like if you're just gonna hit on 3s instead of 4s, what's the point?
I mean,
Why not?
I did it before when Redemptors were triple Iron Storm. I started taking Biotic weapons because I'm like, they both wound on 5s. They both got the same AP when it comes to Biotics anyway, and
Yeah.
you're still both 1 damage. The difference is one gets more attacks and hits easier. So yeah, even with the Plague Knives, like yeah, you are hitting easier. So it's like
You,
weight of dice.
like you still take your heavy plague weapons, but you still have plague knives attached to those
Yeah, so you
models.
yeah, true actually.
That's what
So you
I'm
could
saying.
just
You don't have
yeah,
to
yeah,
trade
yeah.
your heavy in
Ah,
some
okay.
matchups.
Yeah, you could
I
just
haven't
swing
tried it
knives.
yet, but
I'd
in
be
that
interested to see how
matchup
that goes.
specifically, yeah, I'll try to ask for Dark Angels and hate my life for a game. But yeah,
See how that goes, man. That'd be interesting. But I,
I'm seeing a chat suggestion of the Stink Brigade. I kind of like it. Pestilence Parade. So maybe those will. I like it. It's not too bad.
yeah, I have to try saying it a few times at the table and see how people opponent takes it. They're
Yeah.
like, oh, that's good. You're like, okay, write that one down. But yeah, I don't think actually with the price rises to like Foul Blast, I don't think we go 3 10-mans with Bios and Foul Blast one in every single one now because
Yeah.
that's a lot of points. Like the characters are now 120 points for the 2 of them, and as we alluded to before, they are just 4-up wound, 3-up save. They're just a 4-wound Plague Marine, so anyone that has precision can cause you an issue. Now, obviously, your fights first to sort of like evade that, but anyone that has a brain will just charge. If you've got 3 units, they'll just charge 2 at the same time. They'll just eat. They'll eat the fact you're going to fight first on one, and then
And
precision
they'll
the other.
charge in such a way that you can't overwatch them. A lot of times, people at some level just really show you that your untouchable stuff is quite touchable. It feels like.
Yeah, but the thing is, in your 60-man list, you have that redundancy, like you have to punish them.
This is true.
Whereas, like, with just the 110-man, your opponent knows what they're doing. It's not that hard for them to deal with it. So I still reckon they are, because before I had them in like auto take every list. I reckon they're probably solidly stinky now.
Yeah, I think if you're doing the generic all lists, yeah, I think that's where they fit.
Still really solid unit. Still really good battle line as well with all the bonuses at the moment, which is nice. For
Yeah, that was a point. That was a point to bring up. Stalwarts, raised banners, swift action, prepared positions. All those are pretty good for battle line.
They're all still really, really good.
You gotta have them in your list because of that. I almost think, but yeah, they're just not quite S tier or chariot tier.
I think you go either the 10-man with you go like mass 10-mans like you said. You can bring a 10-man with a Foul Blight Spawn Biology Street Fighter. I don't think you'd multiply that too much. I like the fact that you just have the one with a Foul Blight Spawn and the other one you just go Biologist again, because that does increase the damage output a lot. So having that second Biologist, I would much rather take a second Biologist over a second Foul Blight Spawn.
That was the thought, and it started with 2 Foul Blight Spawns, but yeah, I before I played the first game, I was like, you know what, let's do this, and I think that was the right call.
Yeah, I agree. JC Padilla, thank you so much for going to Plague mate. Massively appreciate the support. Again, check the community tab on the YouTube channel. You get an invite to the Discord server, and you can enter the Plague List Surgery, where we look over your list. We also got a giveaway coming up very soon as well. Thank you so much for your support. And remember, guys, if you are enjoying the content, do leave a like, do leave a subscribe, and if you really, really like it, consider becoming a Plague Marine. Thank you so much. But yeah, I'm happy with Air on Plague Marines. I think that's a really good spot. I don't think that the auto take they used to be. I think you either go 10-man with some bells and whistles, multiple 10-mans, or even 5-mans I think can be slept on a little bit, but I wouldn't go characters with 5-mans. I think 5-mans are there to like hop out, flip an objective, or do an action or something like that, whilst also potentially, firing off like a melter gun or something if you've got the battle line bonus for that mission. Happy days. Right, we'll quickly cover then the Bios, Putrefire, the Foul Blight. We'll cover all the variants really quickly because they kind of like go in hand with the fellas there. So we've already talked about Biologus. I think the Biologus is in every list, because the second you put a Plague Marine in, that guy goes in. Like, I don't see Plague Marines at 180 points. They're two. What's he now? 60? Is he 60 points now? Yeah, they're 240 points because he's automatically in there every time. So that is just 1-on-1 together. Foul Blight Spawn, I think potentially just goes in solidly stinky there. I don't think he's as good as the Biologus, but I still think he's really solid to have, and I think you do want him with your Plague Marines, at least one. So happy with that. Again, if you got any notes on these, feel free to put in, mate, and just cut me off on stuff. Noxious Blightbringer.
Another sad day. Very cool model, very cool lore. Just isn't quite there yet.
Yeah, I had him in specific matchups because you could battle shock the units that were infinitely respawning, and then that would stop them respawning. GW has took care of that already for us. You get to respawn a unit once, and then after that, that is that. So unfortunately, I don't think he even has his niche use anymore, and it's really hard to even justify multis. Again, is there a single list in the game where I consider running this guy? No.
Nope.
Like, you could do a really cutesy Battle Shock Matters kind of list, but there's armies. If you want that kind of army, just go play like Dread Talon CSM, even Tyranids, like, with all the synapse, like Battle Shocks they can do. Like, there's armies that just do Battle Shock builds way... Not like Battle Shock build is good, but it's way better in those armies that are made, dedicated to it.
Right. And maybe we'll get a detachment in the Codex that someone might really enjoy doing Battle Shock, and maybe they'll have a role there, but yeah, for now...
yeah, sadly,
it's
just
not it.
Reroll charge advances is nice, but again, if you're doing it right, you should be getting the charges at as low as possible with your movement and doing correct disembarks. And also, like, when you do fail that really critical charge, if you know what you're doing, you 100% bank to CP for that anyway, because you know how important it was going to be.
In worst case scenario, probably thought about I'm okay with missing his charge. It's something you might have to think about, unless you're just going it for it to win the game or something.
Yeah, unless you like last resorts, in which case, sure thing. But then again, if you're at that position, I guarantee having this game list wasn't going to help get you out of that position. He's unfortunately moldy sock. Artovank, thank you so much again for coming and playing Marine. Thank you so much for the support, everyone. Really appreciate it. 137 viewers and all that is kind of crazy. So glad you guys seem to be enjoying it. I don't actually know if you are. Hopefully you are. So then we'll go with the Icon Bearer. Icon Bearer is cool and unique, but
Cute.
it's cute. Yeah, that is the perfect word. He's cute. He has a cute little combo. So you put him with a Chaos Lord. It's like, oh, I'm going to do some mortal wounds to you now. And then maybe. And then that's it. And then your opponent draws Assassinate and he gets himself killed and you go up 5 victory points because it happens every goddamn time.
I've actually never ran him, so I haven't felt your pain, but I can imagine, I think.
It's just, he's cursed, man. The second you expose him, like, I'm going to go out, I'm going to drop a banner, 12-inch aura, and then your opponent's like, cool, Assassinate.
Maybe if it was every turn, like every battle round, that'd be easier to, it'd be more feasible, but yeah.
Yeah, even like twice without anything. It's, and especially because the one good thing it had was the ability to like catch stuff behind terrain, and now I can boil blight with a -1 save contagion, and that's kind of like not as good anymore because of the whole indirect nerfs. But I can't put him in the same tier as these two at the bottom because he at least has acute use.
Right, I'd have to agree with you there.
He's definitely no better than Moldy Sock. I don't think he can be nice and pungent.
I don't think he gets past there.
But he's cute and he's fun. He's fun to play with. So OC doesn't tend to matter because the thing is, the one unit you can join is Plague Marines, who have pretty good OC anyway. And I guarantee you, if there are Plague Marines on your objective, there's a good chance that the infantry of the enemy that was just there is probably no longer there.
And if they're trading back, that OC is probably not going to matter because they're probably going to kill you off of it. Just the opposite, yes. So.
Yeah. Now, if this guy could join Blightlords and give them OC too, and actually put him way up, but unfortunately. Wow. Unfortunately, no, he is cursed to Moldy Sock here. So that brings us to our last Virion, which is going to be the Tallyman. The Tallyman... This guy.
Tally me banana. Let's see. I have some thoughts on him.
Go for it.
Just linchpin exists, and I think it's called when you are defender. What is that? Maybe it's... I forget if it's a primary mission or not, but when you defend an objective to get a look extra points.
Oh yeah, you got it, yeah.
I'm finding that with Sticky, before, like, yeah, we kept something there. I kind of think that's a side role, but the OC when you're doing, or I'm sorry, the CP regen, if it was consistent, I think he fits better, and I would always run him not attached, even with indirect being a thing still. I've never thought the 2s to hit, and you could do like a bolt gun list, or a plague bolter list, but I do like him for some roles, and I started the 10.5 with him when I was trying to find my identity in the new update in Pariah, but he didn't stay in the list very long.
Yeah,
when I get 1 CP a game extra from him.
That's the problem. It's so it's really annoying. Just like Eldar, way leapers who are just like, yeah, get a CP every turn, like just for free, no rolls, none of the thing. It's like yes, they roll a 7 on 2 dice, 7 up, and again,
and that's cool. That's cute.
It's cute. And again, if you could do it like you used to at the previous edition, you got to roll at the start of either player's turn, so you had 2 chances every battle round, which made it a lot more reliable, which was quite nice. Another big issue.
So you just run 3 then. That's what we got to do.
You heard it. Yes, 100%. That's how you make odds. That's how odds work, right? The other problem I have with him is you can't roll in a Rhino, which really fucking pisses me off so much. The second you put this guy in a squad to make use of his buff, that means Plague Marines have to go in Rhinos, because we all know a walking Marine is a dead Marine. And the second you put him in a Rhino, he basically loses his other ability. So it's like, cool. Most people running him these days are doing what Jacob said, just kind of sitting him on home and trying to get some CP while maybe doing an action here or there. And he's cheap.
It's so hard to score already. You're probably just farming a secondary mission to get CP anyway. So
yeah.
That feels bad.
If you're running fixed, maybe there's more of an argument for it, but
sure.
With running tactical, again, if you really need CP, you can just ditch a card. because the problem is as well, I've also seen people get baited by him, so they'll be like, okay, I'm going to need 3 CP next turn, because I'm going to need -1 damage there, and I want 1 CP to do heroic there. And they'll go, okay, cool, I've got 2 CP, I've got 1 CP, I'll get 1 next turn, so I'll go up to 2. I could discard this secondary and guarantee you get 3, or I can hope the Tallyman rolls it. And I'll go, nah, I'll be fine. Tallyman rolls it and fails it, and like, fuck.
You're like, and no bananas. Cool, got it.
Yeah, so, I mean, where does he go? Because, I mean, I still see him having... He's way above these. He's way above these.
Yeah, in the matchup doesn't decide whether he's in the list. So like the middle tier, there's like no matchups where it's like, because I feel like guard indirect is probably not going to be seen as much. I know it's not dead, but
yeah, true.
I just would hate to put him in a bad matchup. I think, but the nice and pungent is kind of misleading. God, that's hard.
Yeah, I think.
I don't think he's as bad as Molly's sock though.
Should we just change this to the air tier? Air.
That might be, yeah. If we can just say that's like in a secondary thing to it, like because there still is models that do hate bad matchups. I think by the Hellbrutes probably fit.
Yeah, because the thing is, well, like you said, if they have brought any indirect, he can literally become a prisoner in a Rhino because you can't get him out. And the pro bit is like, if you get him out, like again, he's just like the icon bearer. It's cool. I am literally waiting to be assassinated for 5 VP at some point. And if he sits in a Rhino all game, he might as well be dead. He's not scoring you anything. He doesn't exist. You can't even generate the CP. So yeah, I'm gonna put him in air. I know a lot of people are like him. I want to sit on your home objective and try and get CP, but 5 more points, I can get 10 Poxwalkers, 10 Cultists. You can just take up way more space. Yeah, they don't generate CP, but I don't like unreliable. If he generated on like a 5 up, you know, like maybe a bit more reliable, but a 7 up is like, Yeah.
There's too many characters that do it better. It's just kind of a smack in the face. Someone out there, someone take one for the team. Run 3 of these with 10 bolter marines and just make it work.
Just make it work, and then tell us if you still have a turn where you didn't generate a CP. Okay, so we'll go from there. Then we'll move on to let's go for some scoring units. We'll go for some chaos spawn. I think they're okay. Movement 8's nice. The feel no pain can be nice. They're a lot more resilient to stuff than like cultists are. So like you're not going to get picked up by like a random like Seraphim like Flamer squad, which would easily pick up like 10 cultists. If they pop the dev wounds, obviously that's a different case. But they're okay. The problem is they're just why are they 70 points? Like they're still kind of expensive for 2 models. And also,
I do like them in World Eaters because when they take their Feel No Pain, they're actually annoying to remove.
Yes,
but our trade-off is kind of like it gets to spread contagion. That's pretty good though. But
we don't get any bonuses. They get a better Feel No Pain. They also get more strength on their spawn. Thousand Sun spawn get an invul, and we just get nothing. We don't even get extra toughness. We get nothing on it.
It's the one thing we get is that it does bear our army rule.
But then again, it gets +1 strength and attacking world eaters. That's their army rule. It gets all the blood blessings. It's their army rule.
Listen, I didn't say it was good.
True.
I haven't actually ran them. I have like 8 of them to run because I thought they looked cool. But you've seemed to ran them once. I'm going to take your word for it.
The one thing I'll say is I actually would rate them in nice and pungent, not because they're better than these here. Because movement 8 actually can matter, and they actually can kind of kill stuff. They have really random attacks, but they're AP 2 and 2 damage with -1 save contagion, which actually can threaten stuff. More so than can be said for like these guys down here. The speed is nice because the 8-inch move. They can do actions as well because they're OC1. Probably lose that soon because CSM lost that. But I genuinely...
Are they still annoying for opponents to shoot at? Like they're
not
like
shooting. Not shooting as in like they go out, they'll die, but they can't be killed by... I had a guy put 5 assault intercessors into them. That couldn't kill them. And then they regenerate wounds. And they get over time. They can like wall them down. They can kill scouts. They can do stuff like that. They won't survive anything dedicated to actually killing them. But again, it's a 70-point unit that can absorb a lot more damage than the cultist can. So they can actually force bad trades, which makes me instantly... The second something can force a bad trade, I'm like, okay, you're at least usable.
Okay, I'll take your word on that.
Especially with an 8-inch move, which is kind of fast for Death Guard, it spreads contagion still, as you said, which is like one of the good things about it. I think they're okay. I just think again, I would like if there was 60 points, I'd be much happier. 70 is just a bit much, but I would easily take spawn over anything below it there on that list so far. I would much rather spawn.
Very nice. I'm gonna answer one of these comments. Good ones. It's Matthew Harrington asked, "What sickness do you both mainly run?" And I think a lot of people look for those kind of questions or like answers. So I love -1 save. I know Aiden said he does almost every time.
Yeah.
The only matchups I don't is like guard tanks, like a lot of guard tanks, like Oopsal tanks, and any other army that does it. Eventually, I will have advanced and move and survive to put -1. And when I get into engagement range with tanks, meaning when they shoot, it's -2. Even with orders and heavy, it's back to what their crappy data sheets are. It's like a 4+ at best. Sometimes you make them hit on 6 and you laugh at them. But yeah, mostly -1 save for me.
Yeah, because you don't have trouble killing the infantry anyway. So like the tanks, you can just keep busy. So that's a good shout. Like obviously, there's like demons, which is like obviously you're gonna take mass.
Yeah.
But that's not really a question. That's just like
you're right.
Although I have always said, if you really want to flex on someone, do take a -1 save versus demons. You're an asshole if you do it, but it's kind of funny at the same time. It's like why are you taking that? You're like, I'm just gonna flex on you.
And then they beat you, and you're like,
You're like, yeah. But yeah, I'm a -1 saver most of the time. But again, the real question is totally depends on matchup. Just -1 saves to generic go-to, but there are times when I would change that. So again, if I was against Sisters of Battle and they're all like, hey, I've brought like 18 multi-melters, and I've brought Morty, I'm like, cool, I'm going to pick +3 contagion range every time. -1 skill, ballistic skill, like, cool, all your melters can hit me on 5s and 6s. Have fun. Because the army can miracle dice, but it can't miracle dice both a hit, wound, and damage. So it's like...
Yeah, and it also can't make you fail at invuln or fix your invuln save, so feels good.
So it's like there's a lot of things that can happen there, and they don't really have many rules to hit auras or anything like that, so it can actually be quite swing. So, but again, that's what I mean. It all depends. If you're against Sisters that brought a max flamers, probably not taking -1 to hit.
If you ever go against the 200 guard list, if that ever comes back, -1 OC and leadership pretty darn good, folks.
Yep, that's what I mean. So it does depend. There's no solid answer. We run -1 save most of the time, but there is no like solid. This is the answer for every matchup. It does depend. Right, so let's go into. We'll go with the Rhino because again, it's on topic of the Plague Marines. Again, I think this is right at the top. If you're running Plague Marines, Rhino's not even a question.
It's one of the best units in the entire game.
Yeah, it still is. Still actions, spreads contagion. It's now got an even better tank shock.
Facilitates movement for slow army.
It's so good.
It's guns. It's guns in half range, having lethal.
It's weird.
You've had to have stories about things that you've killed that you shouldn't, and everyone does. It's ridiculous.
I've had him just like drive up to somewhat like, oh cool, there's like there's like a squad of 5 scouts, killed like 4 of them with just the bolters and the havoc launched. I'm like, cool, all right.
I wouldn't recommend this, but I've overwatched a 1-wound land raider with one and like 2 lethals, and they failed one. I mean, it happens.
Yeah,
it was a redeemer, and I hate those things. Like,
I hate
my buddy runs 3 because he hates me, and Firestorm, and it is like okay. Dude, it is something that I got plenty of practice against, at least.
Yeah, truly. It's just good practice stuff, but that is pretty grim. But yeah, it's not even a question. Like, for every unit of, at least every amount of 10 Plague Marines you have on your list, the Rhino is compulsory. There is no question. So yeah, he's a tournament staple up there straight away. So next up, we'll go on topic of the Rhinos and the Plague Marines. Let's talk about the Malignant Playcaster, because I rated this guy last time as like in the middle meh. I think I may have been wrong on this guy. This guy is the Plagueburst is one of the most not only fun, but goddamn, this thing can slap.
It does. It has not. Is one unit, the only unit that I've ever ran that has not let me down in the Rhino. In terms of when it's in the Rhino, both of them shooting never let me down.
It's like the +6 shots from the 2 of them can just offset the bad rolls. Like even if you roll like double 1, still getting 8 shots.
In strict 6, and with your toughness contagion, you just wound a lot of things, and the things that you are normally winning, it's just, I could go on and on. It's just ridiculous.
And that's before you even talk about utility, like you can get out against matchups like Death Ring Knights. Even if you don't like, okay, I've got a unit over here I'm probably not going to kill, I'll just put them to a 1-inch move. Cool, have fun with that.
And I tell my opponents that, and that like you said earlier with the loan up thing, they just don't go near it. because of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, they're just like the second. I've never actually pulled off -4 move on someone because I've never had to.
Oh,
Like, um,
oh.
have you actually done it?
Well, I mean, it's not necessarily necessary in a matchup. I just did it to see. It was against Aberrants recently, because it wasn't really gonna change the game, but I wanted to just do it to be mostly just be a dick, and yeah, it's hilarious. Moving 1 inch and then advancing, rolled a 3, so advanced an inch. Yeah, it's a good time.
-4 to try. Just there, like, oh, he's trying. and,
He's-
and it's like even if they make the charge, it's like cool. Now you're -1 to wound. It's
Oh
like
man,
have
that is so true.
have fun. Like
Gosh.
no. So yeah, I mean, I again, tournament staple is literally in every list. I don't think they are in every list, but it's really it's a fun unit. It's a good unit. It's
They
like a Land Raider
stink
Redeemer.
really good.
They do, and the melee's not awful either. They got like an okay melee.
No,
Like
I agree. I mean, I killed the Aberrants. I mean, that's like the most recent thing for me. That's why I keep referring to Gene Stealer
same when
points.
I
But
keep
like,
saying sisters.
it, it's where it's there when you need it in melee, and that's something you can't ask for in a lot of other units. It's just really good.
Also, late game, if you're against like Hypercrypt, Necron had a game recently where the guy just stood in the middle of the objective, and the guy can like pick up and he put down like, and they have like flayed ones or like single destroyer units, and he normally just like 3-inch deep strike steal an objective. This guy you can't because he's minimum 4 shots. He'll be wounding most infantry on 2s because it's last turn, so you got full contagion over the objective. You're gonna go clean through most things armor at AP3 and D3 damage each. So he's like, the guy had 5 flayed ones, and he's like, so for these to survive, you basically need to roll a 1 on shots, and then fail at least one of the. You need to feel at least 3 of the wounds on 2s, and then I don't get a save and I die.
Quentin from Art of War recently watched a video running one in like attached in a Tin Man with. Even if you don't run Bilo, just do like a foul blight spawn. That Overwatch goes ridiculously hard. You could probably stage in a way to really hurt everything in the game. You can still attach them to units. I think they're best unattached at the moment, but yeah, they're just incredibly useful. I think they're so good.
Yeah, run them solo, run them attached. I think there's so many good things for it. So I'm gonna put them up there with the foul blight spawning a boy. Again, not auto take by any means. You don't have to take them in your list, but you'll never. I don't think you'll regret taking them. They're really fun.
Did you regret not taking them at the RTT?
I can't say no because like it still went well, but like the fun factor of just like bringing in the bus, I was like, oh, I really wish I would push right now. Just especially when like their 10 Hellblasters appeared, what I would have paid to rapid ingress the Plagueburst around the corner, and the next one just like beep beep and just try and delete the squad. Like it's so much fun.
It's nasty, and then yeah, that is gross.
So I love them guys. They're so fun. So let's go on to today. Do you want to pick one?
Let's do. Okay, it is a great topic. I'm gonna let you talk about it mostly, but let's get PVCs.
PVCs. The dead unit, as the internet's
yes.
You said that very, yes, quite. So the internet is lying to you. He wants to tell you that the Plagueburst Crawler is dead. He is wrong. Now don't get me wrong. The Plagueburst Crawler is a little expensive. It is 180, and it definitely probably should have gone down some points. However, this thing is not just an indirect bot. Now, I was running this guy without Mortarion before, so I was already hitting on force for most of my indirect. And it turns out if you have 3 of them, and you're shooting at the things you should be shooting, which is scoring crappy units, you probably still just kill them with weight of dice. And everyone's like, yeah, but well done, you've paid like, 500 and whatever points to kill like a 80-point unit. It's like, yeah, but it's not just about that. I killed it for free without ever seeing it or ever exposing anything, and he has lost something to do an action with and score stuff with. Like, there is bigger implications to the game than just I killed 50 points. And let's not forget, it turns out this is an amazing thing you can do, Jake. You ready for this?
What?
I can actually drive them, look at my target directly, and then shoot them. Isn't that mad?
Is that real? Is it someone fact checked this? Is that
I
an
didn't
actual
know.
thing?
And then my opponent said I could do that, and I did it, and it worked, and I was like, wow. I was like, oh my god.
That's crazy.
I can shoot things direct. I was just like, I was mad.
The internet was wrong.
Now, don't get me wrong, internet. You are right in saying they are expensive. They are expensive, and they're not as easy to just slap around Mortarion and indirect stuff off the board anymore. but it's still a toughness 10 tank with 12 wounds, a 2-up save, which is very important, especially when you're getting cover and you can minus one to hit it and stuff like that. It is not as easy to kill as people think. Now, I've had people go, "Oh yeah, mine's died turn 1," and I'm like, "Okay, cool. Right, what killed it turn 1?" He's like, "Oh, my opponent shot 2 lances at it." I'm like, I'm like, why are you getting shot by 2 lances?
Why? How? What?
Yeah, exactly. And it has a 5 pinball, so actually it has a chance to live that as well.
And it's got indirect for reason, so you can hide them first turn, and you can hide them second turn. It's okay.
Yeah, you don't have to like run them out and get them killed. They've got better tank shock now, as mentioned in the chat there, and they're actually pretty good as aggressive pieces against certain armies that haven't brought stuff like lances. Like having 3 PBCs running up on your opponent, like a Mortarion joining them, is very different from the old sit back and shoot away. But that is not like a pleasant thing to be rolling up on your like safe objective. You're just like, that's an issue.
Yeah. I was watching that, and you kept doing that even with the Predator support. I was like, God, that has to be just the most one of the most intimidating things to see on the table. Is Morty, several Plagueburst crawlers, and a Predator just going to one side, and it's the side that they're probably not going to deal with it on. It's like,
It's like, yeah, that's slightly problematic. And again, you can equip them with the flamers, so they can become like horrendous like board control pieces. And one thing that's really good is you can say like a PBC is so a Blood Angels matchup, for example. PBC onto an objective is 180 points, right? You sit there with 2 CP and you go, cool, go kill that to your opponent. Your opponent goes, I can kill that with 10 Death Company, 100%. So they fly over the wall and they charge it because it's the only thing that army that's going to one-tap it, and they kill it and they go, yeah, I killed a PBC. And then you kill them and then you go, cool, how many points was that Death Company? And they go, 325. And you go, cool, that was 180. I'll do next PBC. Let's do it again.
Up next, yeah, I haven't ran them since the indirect, but that's only because I had just only been running 3 since I basically started competitive, and I just wanted to try something else.
And that's totally nothing wrong with that. But one thing that has been annoying me recently is, and I'm not trying to call it any channels when I say this, but there are channels out there that like talk about every faction at once, and they don't actually play them all. Like, you know, like
right.
we played the faction, it's our job. I'm not going to sit here and talk about Tau meta because I don't know Tau meta. I just killed Tau. But a lot of people still think like the meta build of Death Guard was Mortarion and 3 Plagueburst crawlers sat at home shooting away the entire game, and I'm like, that hasn't been like the top winning good list for quite some time.
And even then, that wasn't the part of the list that was doing the business to everybody. Yeah. Not really, right? I got told that in so many tournaments, like, oh, you're running meta. I'm like, I got 3 models that everyone else has. What does the rest of this list look like? Yeah, I get that frustration. That people think that was the core. But it really wasn't, right?
It wasn't. Like the people running like triple brick. The things that were doing good were like the triple plague marine bricks with like triple brigands. They were doing good. 3 PBCs with like pushing forward. Like I was running Plagueburst, 10-man squad of plague marines, some Deathshroud drops, and 3 PBCs. Like the PBCs were just there because they're just solid chunky tanks that can chip away at stuff and do boil blight plays, which admittedly is nerfed. So I won't say that they're there. I'm not going to sit and be like they didn't get nerfed. They did 100% get nerfed. But for people to be like they're useless now is kind of laughable because they're just they're not. It's still a good profile. It's still got the entropy cannon. It's still got the plague spitters on it. The weird machine gun kills more stuff than it should for some goddamn reason. Every time I shoot a heavy slugger, I don't know why. It's just like I'm just gonna kill a model for no reason. It's like okay.
Yeah, and when I think a lot of things. I think what's happening to people is something that happened to me at the start of 10th because I started. When did Terminus Est go away?
Oh yeah, just last. It is towards the end when it War of the Spider one. Not War of the Spider. That was even before. It was. What was it called? What was the book called?
Oh, before 10th? Leviathan?
Yeah, the one that had Terminus Est in it. What was the book called? Oh. Was it War of like Rust or something like that?
I wish I knew because I didn't start the hobby I didn't even get into it till after that was gone.
Oh, it was so fun. But yeah, go on.
But yeah, so when I changed to 10th, that was my culture shock. That was my first big change, and I was just so down, like because I was doing decent with Death Guard, and then it changed to like how we started in 10th,
Yeah, it
and
was.
that was the first time anything's changed because I just started the game, and I was like, this sucked. I was one of those people, I wasn't
Oh
in the
no, no,
discords.
rightfully so at the time. Like I'm not. I managed to put results, but I literally said in every post, "This is literal hell." I am playing Dark Souls with no armor on, rolling about, panicking, and
It
somehow
was just
coming out
all
on
the more
top.
impressive, all the more impressive. That's insane. Yeah, I just wasn't in the discords about it, but yeah, I was in my brain. I was hurting real bad, but yeah. So I think that's something to do with what's happening to PVCs. People just maybe people just aren't used to that change, but
Yeah, and I think the PBC sitting back with more, it was like an easy. It was easy mode because like you could just indirect stuff. You didn't have to like expose anything. Like you just Morty took away all the modifiers. You just got to shoot away and like chip away at stuff. But again, for people that were playing like the more competitive sides, I don't think that's been working for for like a winning like an event winning list for a while. You definitely had
yeah.
to expand more into like bringing more plague marines, bringing more forward pressure, and then the PBC supplemented that. So I'm gonna put them in. I still think they're solidly stinky, 100%.
Yeah. Hmm.
I think you still bring them along. I don't think they're auto before having his auto take. Don't think they're auto take anymore. I think you can substitute them for other stuff, but they are still 100%. If I put 3 in a list, I'm still happy. 2, I'm happy with. I still really rate them. I still think they're really, really good. And I think a lot of people, Death Guard win rates dropped quite a bit after the update, and I think it's because a lot of people have knee-jerk reacted and just dropped these things, and then
Yeah.
don't know how to play without them, and it's like, really, you should probably just keep them in your list, and you'll probably do better. Well, let's go to the next one. Let's try and get through some easy ones here. Demon Princes. What's your thought on Demon Princes?
Winged, not winged, still overcosted, still not blown up, still gets killed, can't attach to anything. I don't think it's. It's just moldy sock still. I don't think it's not useful at all.
They at least do
It's just
something.
not good. Yeah, it still has a pretty good melee profile and whatnot, but still gives that a little film of pain. And one of the, I think it's the on foot, but yeah,
Yeah.
and it's tough. Like there's something to say about T11. I think it is. It's kind of
Yes,
crazy,
true, true. 2 up, 4 up as
but yeah,
well.
it's just yeah, it's not quite it.
So I listed to do well recently with it, but I don't think it was necessarily the Demon Prince doing the work in the list. But the one thing this Demon Prince has there, which you said there yourself, is the Demon Prince does rock 2 up save, 4 up invulnerable, and a toughness 11, and the rest of his list had a lot of Deathshroud in it, which is again 2 up save, 4 up invulnerable. And if you're going on a heavy stat checklist, bringing more of those stats along at T11 is good, and then providing a feel no pain to the other stats on there is actually usable. So maybe I put the foot one in Brother Air, because
So you basically played Custodes and rolled fours. I mean, that's Custodes,
yeah,
right? You roll fours, and if you play Custodes and they roll fours, you lose. I mean, that feels bad.
yeah.
Um,
I think that's kind of like where he sits. The winged one is Moldy Sock. Probably. I mean, I don't know. I really don't want to put in Brother Air.
okay.
If someone was to come up to me and be like, which model out of all the Death Guard stuff would you recommend me not buying? Like these at the bottom, like my choice, like the Plague Surgeon, the Blightbringer, and the Demon Princess would be like the main instant like go to answers. Not saying they're on Yankee Candle tier, but
Yeah.
I mean, they're just so they're
Well, if
just so
someone made it
weird.
work, then I mean, for
Yeah,
most people, maybe they
I'll
made
put
it
it
work.
in air because someone made it work, so it has to have some
Yeah.
legs there in that specific style list. The winged one
Oh,
though,
can
I,
stay mold. I think it moldy style. It still is fast. It's kind of fits that same bloat-drone type
it's
playstyle. It's
just
so
so
expensive.
expensive. Yeah, it's the cost.
Uh,
It,
what is that one up to? 160,
I think
180?
so, something like that. Yeah, it's so like put it this way, I'd be rather be taking double bloat drones up here rather than the winged demon prince any
You're
day.
right. Yeah,
Um,
that's you
Again,
could put that where you think is appropriate. It's definitely not.
I'll put him
I
in
don't think
moldy.
I'd ever play it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I don't think I'll put him mold. I'll put him in Brother Air because again, I can't argue with someone getting success with it. Like someone has put up a result with it, therefore it can't be moldy sock if someone's managed to do okay with it. Maybe it played into the list, maybe it didn't. I'll try and speak to the fellow a bit more and understand the role of Doom Prince because for all I know, he could be like, "Oh yeah, that was the worst 180 points I ever spent." Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it could
Yeah.
happen, but we'll put him in Brother Air for now.
Okay.
But we'll try we'll seek clarity. That's what we'll say. Cultists. Do you run cultists at all?
Yeah. I didn't really have the models, so I would just proxy Poxwalkers for the longest time. But I went and got some when I was doing my MSU style. I was adopting the Boil Blight play. I liked them for move blocking.
Yeah.
They have several uses. I like them for screening. Obviously the new list, blah, but um, I don't think they got hurt too much. Besides the
No.
Boil Blight plays, like it's not. It's like that was kind of like a good little bonus. We'll find other ways to beat damage output. With the primary missions and stuff, where you need to. I think home objective is more important to stay on now than more than ever. Um, just because you have several instances where you need to be there, and you don't want to do it with Echo Rhino. You don't want to do it. You really don't want. That's like a good unit to do it with of any units that we have. You can screen out, and if it's not matchup, it's not like matchup dependent for the map, and like you don't have to stay on home. They still have that good scout. They can still do the rest of the stuff they've always done
Yeah,
for at least 1 to 2 turns.
there's certain layouts where you get first turn, you can sticky a center objective, which means then your opponent has to make a trade for literally nothing because they have to
Yeah,
unsticky it and then you just kill it.
all
Um,
those times you have one left and it needs to get Overwatch, so it doesn't do something quite annoying.
yeah,
That's
just puts contagion in the middle of their army. It's like, do you want to overwatch that? I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna have to. And the worst best bit's when they fucking whiff it as well and they don't even kill it.
oh
You're
my
like,
gosh.
yes.
What? Okay, I haven't experienced that one, but my buddies definitely put Redeemer into them just to keep him, and I'm like, yeah, I'll just pick him up. I know how that math works.
Yeah, but again, like, I'm more than happy. Yep, cool. Overwatch that. Yep, fine with
Yeah, yeah,
me.
it's fine. Thank you. Yep, sir. You got it.
I honestly think these guys are. I would generally put them in the top, very top, because they have that. I think you're right. I think we're going to see a lot more using to screen home now, because buyout plays ad. But again, they're so they got like a little Swedish army knife. Can they just default to holding home? Yes. Can they be used to move block? Yes. Scout plus move advance can really help. Can they still make bioblight plays? Yes, they can. You just got to accept the
Hey,
fact you hit on
Aiden,
fours.
what keyword do they have? What's one of those keywords that they can exploit in this game?
The infantry keyword.
Yeah, what else do they have?
What else do
Anything
they
else?
have? Oh god, you're gonna make me think now. What are we missing? What am I missing? Help! Help!
Something that just got nerfed for everybody, definitely for Death Guard. Used to be able to do it twice.
Why is my brain froze
It's
completely?
all good. I was setting you up for a big one. They have the grenade keyword. Do they not?
I was don't unfortunately.
Are you kidding me?
It's
Did I
really
just?
weird. I was
All right.
don't.
Forget I said
CSM do. I was
Forget I
don't.
said anything. What a dingus. Okay. Well, that's why you didn't know it. Okay,
It's
moving on.
it's fine, man. Like I don't get why they have it in one army and not the other. Like they're supposed to be the same thing, but yeah, I still
Unless it
think.
just means something.
I don't worry. They're still really good. Like you said, you could do many things, like even just move blocking a vehicle, getting out like an immolator or a rhino or something like that. And weirdly, like because they've got like 2 attacks each, I've had them beat the shit out of stuff. Weirdly, with -1 save, contagion, -1
Yeah.
toughness, I've had them charging to like 3 upset, like like toughness 3 infantry, just beat the crap out of them. Because you hit on 4s, wounded on 3s at AP1 for like some random
For whatever
cultists.
reason, they have 2 attacks. Yeah, we'll take it.
Yeah, it's like okay, take that.
All
So
right.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm actually gonna put them up there. I think you at least want one. Again, default to worst case scenario, hold home or screen. Like okay, I'm against World Eaters. 10 in a line, cool. Sorry boys, you're getting chopped up today. But again, yeah, I'm gonna put them up there. I agree with that. On that topic, Poxwalkers though, I feel like
Yeah.
Poxwalkers are like cultists if you wanted a bit more durability but to lose all the utility.
I just had this. I just thought about this before you got on because I knew this would be something we talked about. They can fit the role of the home, and they're tougher and better at it. Screening's the same. Um, where they lose it is like you said, they do not have the scout. They are not as fast. So cultists are just better in that aspect. You don't need cultists to be tough, and poxwalkers at 2 damage weapons aren't either. Um, yeah, I think they just get a little bit outshined even at the same points level as cultists.
Yeah, and they have like leadership 8 as well, which is really bad. Like because they're not immune to leadership anymore, so they get battle shocked quite easily. The argument they could
Yeah,
say is
not
like,
bad.
what do we think about 20-man bricks of Poxwalkers? Um, I think again, I think we default to the word cute. 20 Poxwalkers with Typhus in it. There are genuinely some games that are going to really struggle to deal with that, and he kind of like just gets value and he keeps killing stuff with his mortal wounds and getting more guys back, and then they sit on an objective and they clog it up really heavily. Um,
Yeah.
the problem is, I think, especially we talk about competitive play, there are too many armies out there that will look at that and go, "I'll just kill it."
Yeah,
Or
and I've played that. Oh, go ahead, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say, or you get precisioned on your toughness 4 Typhus.
Like, yes, that was what I was gonna say. I played that mirror matchup where I went against what you just said, 20 Poxies and Typhus, and I recognized it. I was okay with the bad trade I was about to get out of it, but that unit was way too impactful in the game, late game. So yeah, we just charged heroic with Morty, and yeah, we just killed Typhus out, and I was okay with that.
Ah, nice. So yeah, I'm gonna put them in again. I still think that they're usable, nice and pungent. I could put them in there. I would take them over anything down here, but again, it's just kind of like to hold home on
Yeah, I
screen.
agree. Yeah,
They're cheap. They can do actions. They hold home and thinking. That's about it.
yeah,
So a
that's fine.
couple questions in chat. So we got. Let's have a look. Is Heavy Slugger better than the Rot Heal? I like the Heavy Slugger better on the Plagueburst Crawler. You don't have to get it into rapid fire range to get the more shots out of it. It has an innate AP, so I just think it's quite nice for that. So I prefer Heavy Slugger, but honestly, I don't think it really matters too much. I think you can shove either one on there. Heavy Slugger just has the range, it doesn't have the rapid fire, so I like that better. I've been pushing 2 Crawls and 2 Brigands in the back, was just ruining folks at my last tournament. These videos helped so much. Yeah, Brigands and Plagueburst Crawls are going to seem to be making a comeback as a combo. It still works. Again, it's still like, nothing changed, still works pretty good. I'm 8 on my local league, thanks to channel. Oh, it's really cool to hear, man. Congrats on kicking everyone's ass, Historata and Jamaldus. So you're doing quite well there, 8-0, nice one. And why did Deathguard Cultist Heavy Stubber hit on 5? Everyone else's hits on 4s. Did you see the launch of Death Guard? That's why. We just don't ask questions, just accept. So I'll put Poxwalkers in neck and pungent. Again, I think you can take them, but I think if you're playing at a competitive level, the cultist and the utility, especially if you know how to get utility and like you know how to move block and stuff, the cultist is just going to get more mileage for you.
Yep.
So let's go to double predators here. So one of these things is not like the other. The Destructor variant, I think, is the one that's generally seen in the better light than the Annihilator. The Annihilator obviously swapping out the +1 AP versus infantry and the auto cannon on top for a single shot, not 2, single shot, twin link strength 14 las cannon, and reroll 1s to damage versus vehicles. Those abilities just ain't equal. If this thing could do what Lancers do and rerolled 1 hit, 1 wound, and 1 damage roll, then yeah, I'd actually quite like this predator out. Okay, cool. You only got 3 shots, but you've got that built-in rerolls to sort of make them. It's the same reason Hammerhead works for Tau. He's got 1 shot, but he gets a free reroll on like the hit and the wound. I'm not taking 130 points for 3 last cannon shots.
I don't run either, so I can't help you here.
So I'm gonna put him in Moldy Sock. Predator Destructor. A lot of people will have up here, and this is. Have you ever played with one?
I don't do well, or I haven't tried to do well with tanks in general, like mobile tanks, or just kind of getting line of sight. I just haven't flirted with it yet. I'm not saying I never will, but yeah.
I have played these things, and on paper they seem like they should wreck, but every time I've played them, they're just meh. And I don't know why. It's my rolls, like, I'll have 6 shots in the cannon, and I'll hit 3 times, every time. And again, I'm hitting on 3, should be at least 4, but then, even then, like, you get 4 hits, should be winning most infantry on 2s, I'll always drop 1, so now I've got, like, 2 wounds, and then the AP 2 and 3, which is good, don't get me wrong, the flat 3 damage is nice, but
yeah.
I don't know. And like, I'm not going to put them lower than solidly stinky because people are finding success with them and they are doing well with them. So I'm not going to say they're not solidly stinky. I had to put them up here, but I think they work maybe well in 3s when you got like the redundancy of the weight of dice. The fact you can bring 2 las cannons on the sponsons is nice because it does help with our anti-tank issue, which is an issue at times, especially long-range anti-tank. But at the same time, I don't know, I think maybe mine are just cursed. Yeah, someone probably put it in chat. They're kind of meh, but it's kind of a reliable meh. I can see that. It's like it's okay, but it's enough okay every turn, and it's 130 points, which is cheap.
About to say, aren't they pretty cheap? Yeah.
Yeah, 130 points is pretty damn cheap. I would still
Is the
go.
autocannon only 1 AP?
It's 1 AP innately, 2 if you're shooting at infantry, which helps out because then we get it to AP 3 of Arcatage, and that's why it kind of still works. So I think. That's what I mean. I think I've got to put it in solid stinky. Plus, all the other guns get that. So you have AP5 las cannons, AP2 Havoc and bolters on it, which is quite nice. These do go well with Morty. I will say, like rolling 1s to wound on these really helps reliability. So I did like the bringing the 1 with Morty. So they are solidly stinky. And I think you'll find good use out of them if you like them. But again, I think you have to have a mindset. I'm not a tank player really myself. I'm more of an infantry player. I think you're the same. But for the people that do like parking lots, I genuinely think if you have like 3 of these boys around like Morty, like that's a lot of firepower coming out and like rerolling the ones. And the 48-inch range is very nice. Someone in chat did point out. So I'm gonna put my solidly stinky. I think that's probably where they do belong. You know, but the other one is just not. Like I'm not trading out 6 all cannon shots for 1 extra last cannon shot. Especially because a lot of things are rocking in ones these days.
Yeah, they are.
So real quick, Ben Davis, thank you so much for coming and playing, mate. Massively appreciate it. Thank you so much, man. So let's go into blighthauler. You rock blighthauler at all?
I have not recently. I just always tend to compare their points to a unit of 3 eradicators, and it makes me sad. And then I put them back in their box.
That's pretty accurate. So they did go down to 90 points now. So they are on par with the bloat-drone. My problem is like their rule only works versus vehicles. So you run into Tyranids, cool, you don't have a rule. You run into Chaos Demons, cool, you don't have a rule.
Yeah.
You run into anything with just infantry, cool, you don't have a rule. And the multi-melter and the rockets aren't even like plague multi-melter, they're just basic multi-melter rockets. And
Yeah.
like multi-melters work on units where you can bring like 4 of them. And yes, you can bring a squad of 3 of these things. Even then,
I thought about running triples, maybe 2 triples with Morty, and seeing what that would do. Because he's ignoring any modifiers because they need to hit on 3s.
Yes,
and
agreed.
Rerolling those 1s, sometimes those multi-meltas with toughness, 5, still like whatever is toughness 5, not really anything besides us. Going to 4 kind of feels nice to win on 2s, reroll those 1s. Obviously, if you're putting meltas into T5 bodies, it feels bad, but I don't think it's terrible. I just think there's better options. It doesn't quite fill the same role, even though it's the same points as the bloat-drone, of course, because it can't fall back and do stuff. But
I just feel it's too swingy. Like melters in
I
general.
want someone to make them work. To be fair, I want somebody to make them work.
Yeah, I've seen a game. I literally watched a stream game, and he rocks 3 of them up to like an immolator, and he shot all 3 at the immolator, and then like he ended up only hitting 3 of them because it popped smoke, and then he's like wounded it on 4 still. You got like 1, you got 2 wounds through. It passed a 6 up invulnerable, and then like he did like 7 damage to it, and it's like this 3 unit of them couldn't even kill a goddamn immolator. It's like. Man, I don't know. I like the thing is again, we've got to give it the same points for the bloat-drone. Its body for its points is durable and enough to force bad trades in a way, but at the same time, the bloat-drone can't get tied up. It's gonna float off. It's gonna do its stuff. The bloat-drone has better defensive weapons, like the flamers, to just control area. Like no one's gonna worry about Overwatch from a guy with a single, 2 multi-melter shots and a missile. Like no one really cares, and it's okay. I think the points drop made it probably into nice and pungent just because of its points alone. So I'd probably put it in nice and pungent just because, again, the points alone on it. 90 points for a Demon Engine is nice and cheap. But every time I've thought about it, I'm like, okay, cool, I can get 6 multi-metal shots on a squad of 3, give them these bonuses. Then the second a -1 to hit comes along, I'm like, cool, so I'm hitting 3 of those. Toughness 9 vehicles, it'll probably have a good time at killing because now you're going to wound on 2s. But like toughness 10 vehicles go down to 9, you get +1 to wounds, so you wound on 3s. You're only getting 2 wounds through on average, and God forbid like they make a 6 up. It's just like 270 points for all that.
Yeah,
I could just.
If they had something other than melt, I don't know why they just gave Death Guard stuff multi-meltas. Like any kind of long range shooting would have been cool on a unit like that. Like, well, I don't understand that thought process. That could have really buffed this unit up to something interesting, but yeah, it's just short range. It's got to contest against other tanks, because that's your anti-tank role, and I don't think it's ever really looked impressive to me.
Yeah, it's durable. It can do actions. That's pretty cool for it. And occasionally you will sneak through some multi-melt shots and do a decent amount of damage. But also, again, you got to get within 9 to shoot this thing, and this is not a unit that wants to get tied up.
Yeah, and you got so many other things to do actions better than that.
Yeah. So I'll put nice and pungent just because it's profile to its points, but I can't put it any higher than that.
Fair. I like that.
Do you rock any of below? Do you want to rock it? Do you want to rock one of these?
What's that?
Do you want to pick one of these from below?
Oh, gosh. I mean, I use Nurglings still. We can do. I mean, what else is there to say about Nurglings? The action change does suck, but they still can defend in one of the missions. They can still be places in board positioning, which if I'm gonna do fixed for me, it might work out for engage. They still infiltrate. Still 40 points, man. They're still so good.
Still cheap.
They're just not the very top anymore. I think they're solidly sneaky, pretty easy.
Yeah, I think I agree. I don't think the days of taking 3 units of anymore, but there is still a lot to be said of the utility of stopping scout, stopping other people infiltrating where you don't want them to be. They can move block pretty well because when you spread them out the 2 inch coherence each, that take up a lot of space.
And
Um,
if you move it to the side of the board where their bases can't fit, you get even more movement or move blocking. Like it's so good.
yeah, and the other thing is as well, they still do have the -1 to hit aura, which although niche can come into play, but it's like you said, it's 40 points in the day. Like having them in your list is not going to make it like worse innately. Like
Right.
it only gives benefits. They're still pretty good, and we don't have infiltrate anywhere else. Unless we ally Nurglings, we have no infiltrate, and every other army in the game at the moment has access to infiltrate, and a lot of them are taking it. So
And it's just it is good for a reason. It's especially in the Orion Nexus, it's just going to be even more impactful.
I agree. So I still think even without being able to do actions, you still want to bring at least a unit just to sort of like
Yep.
screen out the board. I don't think you go in 3 units anymore. I'd even be pushed to take 2, but I still think you want 1 unit so you can at least deny some form of board control to your opponent. So yeah, I'm good with that. I'm good with that there. Do you have an opinion on Blight Lords?
Actually, I do. Um, I know what people say. I know nothing really changed besides points, but I tried him in a game. I tried 2 units of 5. I swear I did, and because I was really struggling to score until enemy's next end of turn. I mean,
Yeah.
and I couldn't find a unit to do it. I was tired of just farming CP. Uh, I'm trying to find a better unit to fill that role. You could say Death Shrouds because they're also tough, but that's not the role they want to fill. They don't want to score. They want to kill. And if killing is scoring in that secondary, more the better. So they did well. I mean, I did like 6, 10, I think 12 points of secondaries with them. Um, didn't really hurt the output of the list. It was an MSU list. I don't hate them. Um, I don't know. What's your opinion on that? Because I think there might be life there a little bit at least.
So I think if it does come to it and we get a lot of closer games, I think having a unit that can, for its points, be as durable as it is, because it's kind of stupid how cheap they are. The output's dog shit. Like the output isn't there,
Yeah.
but
And you've said before how they are completely um, counterproductive to what their ability is.
yeah, they like. But if you're bringing them just to do actions and survive, they're probably the best unit point for point that's going to do stuff like that. Because again, haulers and drones can do it for cheaper, but they do also run the risk of getting like 1 tapped, 2 tapped. If you get badly invulns, they get like a laser destroyer through it, rolls d6 plus 4 damage, rolls 6, 1 tap. Shoot that into a Blight Lord, cool, you kill one. There's still 4 there that are still doing the action.
Yeah.
I don't think this is a unit that I would recommend, especially in 5 man, you invest any characters into. I think
Right.
this is a unit that's just durable, comes down, does its thing. I think you could potentially run a 10 man like a Lord of Contagion because he does actually add a lot of bite to the unit because you can fish for lethals. He himself hits pretty hard. But the problem with that is it's a massive unit and it's a massive unit that's not particularly doing so much else. Like I'd rather have this points elsewhere. And the
Yeah, I mean, if you make one mistake with that unit, it's so bad for the game.
yeah, like and also like what opponent is going to let you rapid ingress 10 bloody Terminators in that's going to be in a good spot?
There's levels to this, sir. I've seen now finally. Nobody, not a certain level.
Like friendly local games against just your mates who are casuals, yeah, you could probably run this unit and do well with it. But again, if we're doing this as a competitive list, um, I just don't think it does the business, and it definitely doesn't do the business as you'd want it to. So someone in chat has put Blight Lords with all Deathwound weapons and Lord of Ruins can slap. Yeah, they can get a couple Deathwounds out of there, but if I was
It's
to
not
do
reliable
that,
damage.
yeah, and if I was to put that in front of a knight and shoot it, I'm going to maybe do like 6 Devil Wounds to it, 7 Devil Wounds to it, cool. If I put 10 Plague Marines of Biologists into that knight, knight's dead. Like, that's the problem.
It's another issue of we've got better units to do it. I agree.
Yeah, so I don't think they're... I don't actually think they're Moldy Sock, because they do have a use.
No, they're also niche. What I'm trying to do with them, I think, as but
Yeah, I
man,
probably
he's
put.
about the highest they're gonna get.
Yeah, I reckon I'll put them in there. Again, the problem I
I don't
have
want to
with
mislead people.
the problem I have with them is just people just that you don't have to respect that unit. I think when you add a Lord of Contagion, you kind of have to respect it, but it's more because you respect the Lord of Contagion rather than the Blight Lords.
Yeah,
Um,
respecting the points for sure.
yeah. Whereas like if you put that down, I don't have a second thought about running 3 Deathshroud into 5 Blight Lords. I'm just
Yeah,
gonna run in there and just chop them up.
I agree.
Um,
You're right.
and again, like other things will do that, Sword Brother and stuff like that. Whereas like Play Marines, like again, fight first and stuff on an effective objective marker, you better wipe that unit and you better like find a way to get around fight first, otherwise you're dying.
Yeah.
There are things
If
where
you
it's,
could put Virion with Terminators, I know we've all
oh,
thought it. It'd be great. It'd be a
if we
different
could
game.
put yeah, if we could put Virion returns, this entire list would flip turn upside down because them with 5 up lethals become a big difference in like output and whatnot. Then you can give them
That's
Plague Surgeon, potentially resurrecting again. That's a really hard brick to
whoa,
kill
whoa, whoa,
now.
whoa, whoa,
Um,
whoa! Don't get crazy.
I'm not.
Don't get
I'm
too
sorry.
carried away.
I'm sorry. Okay, I'll calm down. I'll calm down.
Uh,
But yeah, so let's compare them to their brothers now, the Deathshroud Bodyguard. How often do you play Deathshroud?
up until this new list, every single game,
How do you find them?
they, I guess I misspoke earlier with the Plagueburst. This is another unit that's really just not letting me down unless I put them in a spot where they shouldn't be. And I did that when I was starting. But yeah, if you're playing well and you're playing on that next level, they do some business.
Yeah, they really can. And both the 6-man and 3-man varieties have uses. Um, 6-man Lord of Virulence is the funniest thing to rapid ingress Overwatch with. I
Yes.
have caught some people because again it's a very people when they think about rapid ingress like rapid ingress is going to try and charge me so let's screen it out. No one expects you to rapid ingress just to Overwatch, but when it's with
Yeah.
a unit that has like 8d6 flames with full rerolls to wound and they've put themselves in contagion range to make the charge easier, suddenly that gets real funny real quickly.
Yeah, I've failed to do it a couple times because orcs could just get like an inch away, and obviously that no longer works. With like 9 inches out, you got like one or two guys that can actually overwatch them because they're just a little too close to your charge target. But most of the time, it's nasty. You made the point. I don't know how I didn't think of it, but uh, the Varric Blight on them on the infected objective, or they're on the infected objective. I never thought about the crits on fours technically with anti-infantry. That was pretty nasty.
Yeah, so you get those flames up to like AP3 potentially, which
It's
is kind
ridiculous.
it's kind of dumb. And this is all before we've even got into melee, where obviously weapon skill 2, so they're really reliable. They don't tend to let you down like a bad hit roll. Like weapon skill
Man,
3 can skill whiff. Weapon skill
yeah.
2 doesn't really tend to whiff. Lethal hits 8-2-2, and if you're playing minus one save like we are a lot of the time, 8-3-2 cuts through most things in the game. I mean, I've had 3-mans like way up trade what they're actually worth. And the -1 to wound is like such a if there's a role in the game you want to impact, the wound roll is
Yep.
probably the biggest one. So -1 to wound against like the stuff that's higher, it's really hard to wound these guys on 2s. And again, if you're getting shot by someone that's like strength 12, probably on you that one. But even then, you got a 4-up invulnerable to fall back on. Like worst case scenario, 2-up armor save in cover, 4-up invulnerable, -1 to wound, and you can also like stack durability on these guys if you want to go like the weird durability build. You can go -weapon skill, ballistic skill, shove a sorcerer in there. Now you -1 damage as well. Then you can shove Nurglings nearby, -2 to hit, -1 to wound, -1 damage. Pay disgustingly resilient, any -2 damage. Like there's so many daft things
Yeah.
you can do with this.
Typhus is just automatic. Sometimes with that, -2, -1 to wound feels great.
Yeah, like
Um,
they can feel so oppressive. A lot of people say like, oh yeah, they've only got 4-inch move. Again, yes, correct, totally. But again, if you're playing it right, you know where you should be coming in. You always drop somewhere where if you do what you're meant to do, you're either in a position to pressure something like home objective, or you're just going to anchor a point and be like, look, I'm just going to sit here all game now and hold this all game.
yeah, and Deep Strike is the fastest movement in the game, in my opinion.
Yeah, just,
That rapid ingress.
it's like cool. I appear where I want. You do have to make a concerted effort though to stop yourself. Like, don't let someone's infiltrators just live. Like, you do have to like clear them out, otherwise you'll just get screened out. But again,
Yeah,
if you know you have a big Death Shroud brick that you want to drop in, your first turn or two is spent preparing for that. Like, you are clearing the trash. You need to make the effort to do that.
If you're not rapid ingressing into a 6-man and you're just banking on a 9, something in that game happened. Like we know that something really needed to happen for you,
Yeah.
and it didn't.
Like, never bank on 9s out of deep strike. Like, if you're going to do a 9-inch deep strike, make sure you at least have a unit to pick up with shooting, so you at least get something done. You come in, you shoot it, maybe you have built set up an Overwatch threat, but yeah, like 9 times out of 10, like 1 CP is in my pocket for rapid ingress on these guys every time.
These guys are at the top, and I think they'll be there for a minute.
Yeah, would you put them as auto include, or would you put them just as solidly stinky right at the top?
I can't not put them there. I know they don't technically make every list, but I just think they're. Ah, man, I guess you're right. I gotta think about it a little bit because they are still your MSU. You still get taken apart by shooting. I don't know. I could make arguments for both top or solidly stinky. I don't know. What do you think?
Oh man, I think I'm gonna put them up the top right now because of all the lists I've seen that I've played so far, I've had a unit of them. So that makes me put them up there at the top at the moment. Now, does that mean you go out and buy 18 and run 18? No. Well, you can do that. But no, it doesn't mean you do that. You may do that. But I do think, like, there is no scenario where do I ever check someone's list, there is an inclusion of Deathshroud and think that ever needs changing. I'm like, that is a good unit. That is just a good unit. Straight up. Like, Plague Marines are a really good unit, but there are some lists that just don't have a use for the Plague Marines. Like, whereas, like, Deathshroud, again, it's Deep Strike. It's always putting pressure on your opponent. So having something Deep Strike also makes your opponent constantly have to be aware of that, and it can really lead to them doing misplays or like giving up units for free, or like even just like an elite army that's having to keep like a unit of custodes in the backfield just to stop something teleporting in that corner. Like that unit's effectively dead in terms of like mid-board fighting. So there's loads of things I think they bring to the table. So I'm happy to have them right at the top there. I think
not many things in the game have fantastic damage and decently reliable shooting into some type of stat.
Yeah, I agree on that one. So we'll quickly go through their character choices then. So we've got Lord of Virulence. Obviously took a nerf, can't do the whole indirect buffing thing anymore. But again, turns out magical thing, shoot him directly.
That's not what you took him for anyway, right? Like you really needed. I mean, it was a nice bonus. Don't get me wrong, but
that's exactly what it was.
Rerolls wounds.
That's exactly what it was. It was the bonus. You're right.
The
+1 to hit things, the bonus. The real reason you took him is, as you were saying, for the reroll wounds.
Yeah, sorry, I went a little off.
The
reroll wounds, something we don't have access to in our army a lot is rerolling. So when you can get that, it's pretty good.
Yeah,
especially on flamers, I'll take that every time.
Yeah, especially anti-infantry. It's so good. Argument from him in Blightlord as well because they have a lot of guns, but again, I think I'd just rather think this guy just naturally because he's got a flamer himself as well. I think he's naturally he's just bread and butter with like, especially a large unit of Deathshroud. I think he's really good in.
He's not bad melee either. Like it's on 3s, but still pretty good.
Yeah, he's still got a Mana Reaper stat line, just hits on 3s, but you get an extra 5 attacks in the squad on it. So pretty happy with that. I think he's solidly stinky as well.
I agree.
I think he's solidly in there. Lord of Contagion. I love this dude at the moment. I know that people sleep on him a bit. Deadly Pathogen on this guy. I would never run him in a 6-man. I think 6-man kills anything it touches anyway. But this guy in a 3-man of Deathshroud slaps so goddamn hard because he just adds so much damage to it and then gives him the full fishes to hit, which is cute. You don't always use it, but against really tough stuff you can. But the fact you get
for hits on sustained 1 and 2 potentially, that's pretty nasty too.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously that goes unsaid, but yeah, that's might just get you that extra 6 damage that you might want.
Yeah, and he's got a cute little grenade. He's got grenade keyword as well, which is pretty good for him. Weirdly, that's a great keyword. But flat 3 damage weapon as well. Again, if you look at a lot of the units that are coming into the meta right now, don't get me wrong, Deathshroud don't really have too much problem killing stuff like that. But we see stuff like Inner Circle Companions, which are all going to be 3 wounds each. Sword Brethren are still really good at 3 wounds each. So we're going to see. There's more, I just can't think off the top of my head. But there's quite a lot of things like even Tyrion Warriors have actually seen a weird resurgence in Zoanthropes and stuff like that. 3 wounds each and all them things. Every single hit from this guy twats them. Also, really funny, I don't know why Foot Canoness for Sisters is 4 wounds. Jump Pack Canoness is 3 wounds. So really funny to precision that and just be like, yeah, you fail 1 in 1, you're dead.
Okay. See, I would love to have Sisters in our local. that's one of the big reasons why I lost to them in tournament. I just don't get to play them. I bet I just don't even know that. So you telling me that's great because I just don't know what I don't know how to go through somebody's entire codex and be like, ah, yeah, that makes sense. I know how to
Yeah,
beat them now.
mate, I'm not having Grey Knights. I come across Grey Knights, I'm like, what is this?
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't get many Grey
Fair.
Knights. So I think both of these characters go next to each other. I think they're both solidly stinky. I honestly
I'm
really
glad
rate
that you
them.
like the Lord of Contagion. I really am.
He's
I've always
he's
liked him.
he's really also he's an awesome model. The Mortal Wound Splash thing is just cute, but really
Yeah,
like
I don't think it's ever came up or I've remembered it or care about it. Yeah.
yeah, oh yeah, someone in chat there chosen and possessed both 3 wounds, so like everything, and especially like chosen, sword brethren, they have inner circle companions don't have invulns, so you can swing at potentially AP4 with Ferric Blight with 6 attacks, deadly pathogen, and just be like, yeah, I hit you on 2s with rerolls, I wound you on 2s, and every single one is a dead guy, straight up.
That's it's good. There's no lie to it. It's good.
So I really like him. We've got the Chaos Lord and Terminator armor.
Yeah, never ran this guy. I liked his abilities, but
There's games where you just
what is
don't roll
he?
a 4 up.
75 points? Is that right?
Yes, he is cheaper than the others. He's 75.
I mean, for 5 more points, I'm just taking a Lord of Contagion for full rerolls and like
Yeah.
the more, like you said, the Mortal Wounds is cute sometimes.
He's a combination of these two. So he's better in melee than the Lord of Virulence, and he gives a shooting, like it's a real ones hit buff to both shooting and melee. So he's like a weird combination too. The problem is he just doesn't equate to full rerolls to wound and shooting, or hitting as hard as this dude, because the most he can take is a 2 damage Thunderhammer, which hits on 3s as well, which isn't great. And then you got the Mortal Wounds thing, which is cute, but are we going to really rely on a unit that's entire strategy is rolling 4-ups? Especially when it's like
We're not custodians, people.
yeah, true. And the worst bit is you could roll a 4-up and then roll 1 on the Mortal Wound. So it's roll a 4-up and then roll a decent D3. It's cute. It's very cute. But it's definitely that is the point where he goes hand in hand in the cute tier. But the problem is like just these are just way like you have to compete with Typhus, you have to compete with Lord of Virulence and Lord of Contagion. It's not even close, in my opinion.
I agree.
So yeah,
I don't have.
yeah, we'll go Terminator Sorcerer, so -1 damage guy, and the Super Casino Cannon once per game. He's better than the Chaos Lord, 100%.
I like 3 of them. I've seen it and it's funny, and I tried it and it's funny.
It
But
is funny.
that's kind of where I draw it. It's just funny.
I like them. I honestly think they're still pretty good. Having a 2 command point stratagem on a roll with 2 up for free is really good, especially if you're going into like these heavy melee armies where they got lots of 2 damage weapons. Like you literally reduce their damage by 50% straight up, like straight up. You get the Casino Cannon, which is funny meme, but there's times when it pops off.
Do you have you ran them with success? Like, do you find it easy to set that up? The -1.
-1 damage. It's just 2 up in the fight phase, just like boop, done. So
Okay, gotcha.
so it's like as long as you rank 2 up, you're all right. The problem I tend to have with it is again, if I put him in a big brick of Deathshroud, the melee unit tends to not want to come near me because again the Overwatch is stood there, and then especially when you tell them -1 damage, they like really don't want to come near you. So
Okay, so
how many times does it actually come up into play? Probably not as many as you think.
well, just running him then is enough threat. Then sounds like, and if they are wanting to try their luck, then you
yeah,
can let them.
I honestly rate him. Like the Casino Cannon, like once per game you get the big shots, damage 3, strength 8, 2d6 shots. There are games when it can whiff, but there are going to be games when it like picks up something it had no right to pick it up because it's flat 3 damage shooting attack. And again, he's like 70 points. So I'm happy with him in solidly stinky as well. Honestly,
Good.
I genuinely think our Terminator characters are some of like the most interesting choices. Part of this one down here. So I genuinely reckon I'm going to put Morty up. I actually rate Morty higher than Predator.
I've been wanting to give those different Terminator characters and just like even the generic Chaos Lord some love. I just haven't really found the right timing with it.
Yeah, I think they're all viable there, so I'm quite happy with that. So we're down to 4 units for us. So normal Chaos Lord and 4. I'm just going to again put him in Moldy Sock tier. He's just like the other Chaos Lord. He takes up the slot of the Biology Putrefier and the Foul Blightspawn. He's probably he's definitely better than these guys down here. He's better than the icon bearers. So I'll put my brother Air because at least he can do that weird build where you like take a 5-man and just give him like another Plaguefest, and it's like having an extra like 2 Plague Marines equivalent with some rerolls to hit and some mortal wounds. It's kind of cute, like the Chaos Space Marines used to do with Chosen. But part of that is just like they got better stuff going on. Land Raider, I haven't run a Land Raider.
If we had a Redeemer equivalent with Plague Spewers, but better Plague, like the Malignant Plaguecaster type profile, I would cool, but it's gonna get move blocked. Terminators have deep strike. I don't try to set that up.
Yeah, and like you said, it's
easy.
You can't move block a Redeemer easily because it'll just burn you.
This is true.
But again, the fact ours is just a last cannon variant. It's awkward carry capacity because you can't fit 6 Deathshroud and a character in it. Which usually
I wish they fixed that. They fixed every other awkward
impulses.
Character thing. Ugh.
It would be so much better if it could. At the moment, it tends to carry on 10 Plague Marines more often than anything. Because again, Blightlords don't really do much, and then Deathshroud are just awkward number, and you can't really get it in. Last cannons can be whiffy on it. 4 last cannons is nice, but again, I've seen I played a game against one recently where it just couldn't hit or wound anything. But I mean, I can't rate it too badly. It's still a 2-up save. It has. I think this is great on casual tables, but it's very also table dependent. I'm actually putting it in Brother Air because it's very table dependent. Because there's some games where you just can't move the damn thing.
I have no problem defending against normal Redeemers. That's why I'm scared to run them mostly.
Yeah, so I agree. I think unfortunately it does probably go in Air. Although you can find some good uses out of it if you do build around it potentially and get a good board for it. Overall, though, I probably wouldn't be slamming one straight in my list. I want to separate out from this because I'm going to put it at the very end of Nice Pungent because I would probably still rather use one for the utility of the Assault Ramp over the things below it, like Demon Princes and stuff. Yeah. But it's still the very bottom. You are it's half and half. It's half in each tier. If I could do that, I would.
Okay, you're on the show. It's you do that. You got
it. Defiler. Actually unplayable on UKTC, so I can't have an opinion on this thing.
It's almost there in GW layout. I played against Chaos Demons that ran basically the equivalent with I think it's the Soul Grinder. And even with the new rules for wings, those don't be wings, those be legs. Can't fit, can't go through, it doesn't work. It just didn't do anything. I think it'll continue to do that. I don't think there's enough firing lanes in GW to really put it somewhere that is great for it with its range. I mean, it's got the Defiler cannon, Reaper autocannon, but maybe some last cannon shots, but I don't know. I don't think you take it for a huge shooting platform, do you? Or
yeah, no. I think the cannon's nice if you get Contagion range and a lot of virulence to make it hit on 2s and ignore cover, AP2. The problem is it's so clunky. You get boards where you just can't do anything with it.
How is it T10? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, I know it's massive, isn't it? I don't know. I think it has to go in Air because it's just so. When we talk about units, you want to be competitive and you want units that are going to be reliable, work on every board, always have an impact. If I was going to take anything like this, I'd take a Soul Grinder because it has deep strike, so I can at least ingress it or get into places I want, and it also has a better invuln. It's got 4-up invuln. I think the Soul Grinder is just a better Defiler. Okay, the Defiler is the battle cannon, which is nice, but again, are we bringing it for the battle cannon? No. And it's so hard to move these things. It's like Toxicreens and Nids. It's just these big models that look all the bits all over the place. They're really cool and fun to play with, but they're in a competitive sense, I just don't see them doing very well. Because again, they're just awkward. They're just awkward to play with. And last but not least, the Myphitic Magnifier. We all know where that goes. Straight to the top, baby.
If we could bring 6, we would.
Yeah, if we could bring 6, we 100% would. So, best unit in the actual army. It's unkillable. It's literally got a 2-up invulnerable, 2-up save. It's got a 4-up feel no pain as well. And once per battle, you can make it a 2-up feel no pain. It's so good. So yeah, magnifique, straight up to the top.
It has it gives out an ability that the whole board is a contagion 3 times per game.
Oh yeah, that's really good. It's really important to use it in the first turn, the second turn, the third turn, because turn 4 and 5 you've probably got contagion everywhere anyway.
True.
Um,
It actually extends to the table next to you. It's pretty crazy.
that is yeah true. So then they have to play with contagion. It's mad. Such a good
It's,
unit.
it's, it's,
Only 25 points as well. It's fucking auto include. And then last on this list here, we've obviously got the Beast of Nurgle. I'm probably going to wrap up fairly soon because I am at a restaurant after all. I'm pushing it a bit close. So Beast of Nurgle, I think these guys are actually solidly stinky at the moment. They got Deep Strike. They kind of do what the old job of like Deep Strike can do actions. They are weirdly like toughness 9 for some reason.
They're hard to kill. Really hard to kill.
They're annoying to kill. They've got an invulnerable, which means they can potentially survive those big shots as well. I think they're really solid. I think they're good. And again, one base, so it's quite easy to deep strike where it needs to be. Christopher Law, thank you so much for the 10 gifted memberships, mate. Massively appreciate that. Well, thank you so much, man, again for the continued support. What do you think about beasts? I think it's pretty safe to just say it's pretty solid.
Yep, I haven't got to play them yet. I don't have the model. I would definitely run them though. Absolutely.
Yeah, it deep strikes in, does actions, annoying to kill. Beyond that, I mean, that's what more because you want in Pariah next. That's kind of like the thing that we got going on. So happy with that. But yeah, I mean, if we were to very, very quickly talk about like War Dogs, where would you put War Dogs on here?
Nurgle was very mad at me for running them. So
That's what happens
they're
to me
still
every
okay.
time.
Brigands they're solid. They just weren't solid for me. I think there's some play with carnivores. Everything else, I don't really think makes past nice and pungent, or even.
I can see that. My Brigands are cursed.
OC's nice. OC is great. Don't get me wrong, but Brigands are good for a lot of people. They just work for me.
Yeah,
and I think I just misplayed them mostly.
Yeah, I think Nurgle hates me because whenever I roll, I'm like, cool. Hitting on 2s, and I've done 1, I'm like, cool. Every time. I actually like carnivores more than the Brigands, because it's really fast moving, really good melee profile, and for me, it's really good as a unit that's just be like, okay, throw anger at me turn 1, and I will twat him with a 140 point model. And it's just a good answer unit. It's like a backline. It just kind of runs out and like takes someone out. But again, I don't play knights because I try and click pure. But if I was to run him, it probably would be a brigand. No, brigands. Sorry, a carnivore. Ignore me there. Brigands are cursed for me. Brigands don't work. But as a lot of people are still having success with brigands, so brigands are doing well. So I won't like deny that they're still doing pretty good. I'd probably put them both in like solidly stinky for people that like running war dogs. They're both really good units. OC8's great. They're fast. If your brigands can roll well, they do well. Mine are cursed.
They should. They're literally a great stat line.
Yeah, like you read it and it should work. He just doesn't for me for some reason. I'm just not used to playing him as well, but it is what it is. And then obviously, did spoiler with like double battle cannons also interesting. Will's been trying it a lot. Sorry, not Will. Definitely Dave has been trying it recently. He's been enjoying the Rampager as well because again, just walking through walls. I'm just wondering if that's just a case of people aren't used to it yet, though, and people start understanding and being like, okay, I'll just now screen out a bit differently and like where I put models, and then once people figure out how to like stop knights doing it, it'll be like not as big as an issue because rather than like screening against the wall, you just come a bit back so they can't fit the base where they want to stand.
Yeah, I don't think you treat allied knight any different than you would playing against knights.
Yeah, it's. I mean,
you have another flex of the army that you have to deal with. Also, I can see why it'd be tough at first.
Yeah, and I think the double battle cannons are quite good. You can get up to AP2. You have 2d6 plus 12 shots as well, or 4d6. Oh. It's something daft like that. It's ridiculous.
Wow.
Which is a lot of shots at 10-1-3, so 10-2-3. So you're thinking threaten a lot, but again, this is a game, especially if we go into the melee heavy, investing nearly 500 points in a knight. You're going to have to protect that thing because, as you know, if 10 Plague Marines or any other army's equivalent melee, 8 bound, so that ever touch that model, it is dead.
And is that blast keyword on those double?
It is blast, yes.
So, can't really deal with the engaged unit if they don't kill you. That was kind of bad.
Yeah, so they have to be very careful when they play it, and you have to be very precise with it. And I think a single mess up or the opponent making a single long bomb charge can really ruin your day very quickly with a Knight Dispoiler.
I'm interested to see them talk about it in the future.
Yeah, again, they're running it more than me, so hopefully they'll have some good feedback on it soon. like I said, Dave's been running the rampage and he's one shot a monolith turn one shot like a big like land raider
Good.
turn one, which is funny.
Good.
But I'm also
I
like,
love that for him.
it's really funny. But I'm also like, I think after like that happening for 2 games in a row against his opponent's probably just gonna learn to put like 5 guys in front of it and be like, yeah, let's stop this happening now.
3 rounds of screening. Have fun.
Yeah.
Oh,
Someone in chat's asking Rotagus, so we'll round out with Rotagus and Great and Clean ones.
Sure.
They are cheap.
They are, and I'm working on building one.
Ooh, are you nice? They are very cheap for what they bring. The 4-up invulnerables are very swingy. They can absorb a lot of firepower as long as you make a good amount of 4-ups.
Sure. I wish they had the enhancement for us.
Dude, that is so dumb. That enhancement's like 4-up invul, pain, 4-up invul. Woo!
Kills it. You gotta kill it 6 times. That's terrible.
Yeah, it is a nightmare to kill that thing. I think I would probably run Rotagus because we can't take enhancement over the normal Great and Clean one.
I would too. Yeah.
The 6-up feeling pain is cute, but Rotagus just has more wounds innately, and I think his abilities are better. You get a nice flamer. You've got that +1.
Don't mind the flamer.
Yep, you got always
Pretty
love
good.
flamers. We love flamers. You got +1 damage, which means he sweeps damage 2, which is actually quite important, and he has a damage 4 bonk, which is nice. So his ability still works on himself. And the other bit with him is the half Ocean movement, which can actually be kind of relevant in Prior, given that primary is quite important to fight over at the moment. So
Also stack with an army roll if it matters. So.
Yeah, so
Or with a contagion. So.
You can make Custodies OC1, which is actually really funny.
You laugh at them.
You half it from 4 to 2, then -1 it to 1. You're like, nah.
You bring 3 malignant plaguecasters and make the most luck. I love it.
You just
there you go.
-2 to wound, -6 to move. Literally no OC allowed. That would actually be kind of goddamn horrendous, to be honest.
That you know you're playing just a little tech piece. Ugh,
yeah, just like you're not having fun this game, mate. But yeah, I'd probably put the Rotagus again. Probably needs more experimentation. Currently, like end of Solidly Stinky seems like that's probably where he'd fit. Again, Carnivores and Brigands up in Solidly Stinky, probably a bit more safer up in the middle bit. Normal Great and Clean one probably nice and pungent. I think Rotagus is just a bit better than him. But yeah, I think that's most of it. Any sort of like closing thoughts or words, mate?
Nope. Just try to keep staying positive for everybody. We're all learning Pride Nexus the same, so I think we're going to see a lot of new stuff, and I think it's going to be exciting.
It truly is going to be the Wild West for a bit, isn't it?
Yes, sir. I mean, we're just out here slinging dice and saying stinky puns.
Stinky puns. I forgot Plaguebearers. Plaguebearers, they're decent. If you
want better in demons.
Yeah, better in demons. We don't have any use for the sticky objectives rule because we have it already. If you want 10 semi-durable bodies for OC at a discount Plague Marine price, go for them. Probably would just rather run the Plague Marines, to be honest, because the Plague Marines have output, Plague Bearers don't. Though they have an 8-inch charge from Deep Strike, which is cute. But that's probably all I have to say on Plague Bearers. I would rather have a cheaper unit to hold home, and I would rather just have a Plague Marine if I want to get aggressive with them. I think that's where I stand.
I haven't ran them. I don't think I will for now. Someone changed my mind.
I think they go next to Poxwalkers in Nice and Pungent. The same sort of role, just a bit more expensive, a bit more durable than Poxwalkers.
Kind of it.
I go with that.
Still outclassed a little bit by the utility of Cultists and price.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, well, so we'll call it there then, because I need to go and get ready. And obviously, you've given me plenty of your time today, so thank you so much for that. I massively appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
If there's anything you want to shout out at all?
Just the buds at home. Keep getting spirit ups. Keep the local going. We want to keep teaching everybody. Keep it up, guys. Doing good.
Awesome. So thank you so much for everyone joining us in the chat today. Thank you to everyone that donated membership or super chat, anything like that. If you did like the stream, leave a like and subscribe. If someone wants to screenshot this and go and post it on Reddit and tell me that I'm wrong, feel free. Drama is drama. But yeah, thank you so much for everyone for joining us today. Thank you again to you, Jacob, for joining us as well. And for now, we will catch you all on the next episode. Take care, everybody. Stay rotten, and we'll catch you on the next one.